is my close friend, Chun Yinyan. Hello, Jiang Yuan greeted with a calm nod, acknowledging her presence. This was not due to any aloofness or pretense. Rather, Jiang Yuan was already aware of Sun Yun's mention of her, knowing she was engaged to the foreigner Peter and had even acquired foreign citizenship for him. He had no desire to associate with a woman who seemed intent on climbing the social ladder, as it inevitably reminded him of Su Qingyu. Upon hearing the name Jiang Yuan, Chun Yinyan was taken aback. While her information network was not particularly extensive, she was far from ignorant. She recalled that a young man named Jiang Yuan had recently caused quite a stir at the Tang family's centenary celebration, disrupting the established dynamics of the four prominent families. The previously planned union between the Zhang and Tang families had been abruptly abandoned due to his influence, and it was rumored that the heads of the Sun and Lin families held Jiang Yuan in high regard, even considering a friendship with him. He was undoubtedly a figure of considerable significance. Yet, what she remained unaware of were the secrets surrounding the magnates of the Technology Bureau and the Patent Office, whose information was highly confidential and tightly sealed. Nevertheless, Chun Yinyan's gaze toward Jiang Yuan reflected a mixture of desire and avarice. Her worldview was rather skewed. In her mind, the best kind of man was undoubtedly her friend S. What belonged to others was always deemed superior. Especially when it comes to extraordinary men like Jiang Yuan, he is undoubtedly the embodiment of her dreams. In comparison, her foreign boyfriend Peter appears utterly ridiculous, resembling a mere clown as he trembles on the ground in a pitiful display. Chun Yinyan cast a fleeting glance at Peter, who remained in a state of shock not far away, and her fondness for him diminished considerably, redirecting her full attention to Jiang Yuan. It is truly a pity that such a splendid man is not hers. In a moment of desperation, an idea sparked in her mind. Yunye, since Jiang Yuan enjoys fishing so much, I happen to know of a nearby location that is even more favorable, albeit somewhat secluded. Why don't I take Jiang Yuan there? Chun Yinyan concocted a small fib to create an opportunity for a private encounter with Jiang Yuan. However, Sun Yunj, not pondering too deeply, readily agreed, recognizing Jiang Yuan's extraordinary luck in fishing and the chance that lay before them. Before departing, Chun Yinyan made sure to instruct Sun Yunj. Please keep an eye on Peter for me. Sun Yunj turned back to see Peter still in utter astonishment, gazing at the rare fish Jiang Yuan had caught. As a master angler, he found himself utterly overwhelmed by the prowess of this novice who had come fishing for the first time, leaving his mental state in disarray for quite some time. As Chun Yinyan and Jiang Yuan walked a few steps, the thick fog obscured the actions of those around them. Seizing the opportunity, she leaned close to Jiang Yuan, allowing a warm fragrance to envelop him, and with a playful smile, she whispered, "Young man, since you enjoy fishing so much, have you ever considered catching a rather special fish?" Jiang Yuan's response was indifferent, as if he had not registered her words. He replied coolly, "What fish?" Chun Yinyan laughed with a hint of audacity, continuing, "A mermaid." Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow. "A mermaid? Are there such fish in the Sky Fishing Lake?" "While they're not found in the lake, there is one right before you." Chun Yinyan's insinuations were unmistakably clear. However, Jiang Yuan was fully aware of her intentions. To be frank, Jiang Yuan was not a paragon of virtue, yet he found it hard to respect a woman like Chun Yinyan. Firstly, her character was questionable. A woman who clings to the affluent is hardly deserving of his admiration, especially since he was there as Sun Yunja's boyfriend, and Chun Yinyan seemed entirely unperturbed by that, clearly revealing her lack of integrity. Secondly, her lack of self-respect. Willing to change her nationality for the sake of marrying a wealthy foreigner like Peter left Jiang Yuan feeling quite repulsed. Lastly, although her beauty could rival that of typical campus beauties, when compared to the stunning Sun Yunj, she fell short by a considerable margin. Jiang Yuan's taste had been refined, and he could hardly take an interest in her. Jiang Yuan merely responded with an "oh," feigning ignorance of what Chun Yinyan was insinuating. Undeterred, Chun Yinyan pressed on. "What do you think?" Jiang Yuan let out a chuckle, neither confirming nor denying. Chun Yinyan, growing impatient, asked urgently, "What on earth do you want?" Jiang Yuan replied, "I wish to take a bath." Chun Yinyan's expression shifted to one of disbelief. It dawned on her that Jiang Yuan seemingly held no interest in her, which inevitably dealt a blow to her confidence and self-esteem. A flicker of resentment crossed her eyes. This was the first time she encountered a man so impervious to her charms. Typically, men showered her with flattery, eager to secure a place in her life. Yet today, despite her overt advances, she found herself rebuffed. How infuriating! This Jiang Yuan was simply exasperating. "I must find an opportunity to assert myself," she mused, for it would be utterly humiliating to let this go unaddressed. Chapter 252. The invitation from Paradise Island. Jiang Yuan had long since transcended the phase of desperate hunger. In his former self, he might have succumbed to the allure of a beauty like Chen Yinyan, overwhelmed by her charm. Though the drink before him was merely green tea, it was indeed refreshing. However, Jiang Yuan now found himself with an abundance of opportunities. There was no need to squander his energy on a woman he held in little regard. Let us return. Sun Yunch and your fiancé must be anxiously waiting, Jiang Yuan remarked, subtly reminding Chen Yinyan that her close friend and fiancé were awaiting her return. A mixture of reluctance and humiliation welled within Chen Yinyan, leaving her unable to voice her frustration, and she could only nod in acquiescence. Upon their return to the earlier spot, they found Peter still languishing on the ground, while Sun Yunch held an invitation, lost in thought. The sight of Peter in such a state ignited Chen Yinyan's ire. The purpose of today's gathering was to showcase her fiancé Peter's impressive stature before her close friends, thereby indulging her vanity. To realize this ambition, she had even gone to great lengths, spending a considerable sum to secure the entirety of Maple Fish Island, which pained her greatly. However, the unexpected arrival of Sun Yunch and Jiang Yuan had completely derailed her plans. Her fiancé, Peter, had been reduced to a stunned fool in Jiang Yuan's presence, leaving her utterly humiliated, an indignity more painful than death itself. In a fit of anger, Chen Yinyan stealthily slapped Peter across the face, hissing, "Wake up! How embarrassing can you be? Get it together!" Peter, still in a state of existential doubt, felt the sting of her slap and suddenly became aware, as if emerging from a dream. "Where am I? Who am I?" he muttered, bewildered. Chen Yinyan, seeing his dazed expression, grew even more furious and delivered another sharp slap. The impact left Peter seeing stars, his world spinning before him. Yet, as moments passed, he seemed to regain his senses. "Yinyan, who was that young man just now? How did he manage to catch a bluefin tuna?" "It's terrifying," Peter said, his voice trembling with residual fear. Chen Yinyan frowned, too exasperated to even glance his way. Meanwhile, Jiang Yuan noticed Sun Yunch holding a letter and inquired, "What is that?" Upon seeing Jiang Yuan's return, Sun Yunch hastily presented the letter, saying, "Paradise Island has inexplicably extended an invitation for us to visit. This is the highest standard invitation from Paradise Island." Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan's expression turned peculiar. Paradise Island had invited him multiple times, and even his personal secretary, Song Kaiju, had urged him more than once. The arrival of a formal invitation indicated their earnest desire for his presence. Could it be that something has transpired at Paradise Island? Jiang Yuan pondered, his curiosity piqued. Unbelievable. Why did Song Kaiju choose to extend the invitation in this manner rather than simply explaining it over the phone? Just as Jiang Yuan's mind began to entertain a few speculations, Chen Yinyan and Peter were taken aback. An invitation from Paradise Island had arrived. It was the most expansive and opulent island in the Coral Sea, having received the most substantial investment. Even someone as self-assured as Chen Yinyan would not dare to hope that Peter could secure the entire Paradise Island for them. After all, while Fengyu Island is renowned as the second-best resort, only the informed are aware that the disparity between the first and second ranks is akin to the chasm between heaven and earth, utterly incomparable. It is reminiscent of a scenario where only two exist in the world. One is the ugly duckling, and the other is the beautiful swan. The swan holds the first rank, while the ugly duckling occupies the second. One cannot simply claim that the ugly duckling is just a breath away from the swan. With a future chance of parity, that would be unrealistic. After pondering for a moment, Chen Yinyan suddenly brightened with joy. She discreetly nudged Peter's arm and inquired, "Could it be that Paradise Island has learned of your parents' identities and is extending this invitation specifically for us?" Peter contemplated this for a moment, realizing that such a possibility was not entirely out of the question. After all, his parents were indeed formidable individuals, and many sought to curry favor with them. They had been diligently managing a multinational enterprise, and their business had been flourishing in recent years, with stock prices soaring. Their wealth had also significantly increased. If someone from Paradise Island had inquired about his parents and wished to ingratiate themselves with him, it would indeed be quite reasonable. Thus, Peter scoffed, regaining his rebellious demeanor. "It must be so. They likely wish to befriend my parents through me. Such an ugly social maneuver, purely for their own gain." Although he outwardly expressed disdain for this opportunistic approach, deep down, he felt a sense of delight. For it was a gracious invitation from Paradise Island, one he simply could not refuse. Moreover, Having just been overshadowed by Jiang Yuan, his status as a master angler felt diminished, prompting him to seek a way to reclaim his dignity. Suddenly, Peter's voice rose above the din. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? I have a very important announcement to make. The guests, who had been engaged in murmurs of astonishment over Jiang Yuan's remarkable catch, quieted down, casting puzzled glances at him, unsure of what he intended to convey. Just now, Paradise Island extended an invitation to me, and I wish for all of you to join me in this venture, Peter declared loudly. Upon hearing this, the atmosphere erupted with excitement. Paradise Island, the most luxurious island in the entire Coral Sea, reputedly boasting the finest facilities, has long been a place I yearned to explore, yet I found myself bereft of opportunity until now. Can it truly be that Peter possesses such influence to receive a personal invitation for Paradise Island? Upon reflection, it is indeed understandable given the remarkable stature of his parents. How splendid it is that we now have the chance to visit Paradise Island. I could boast about this experience for an entire year. It is said that Paradise Island is shrouded in mystery. Since its inception, only a handful of illustrious figures have set foot there. To think we now have the chance to behold its true visage is simply exhilarating. Chapter 253. Half a secret. The invitation that Jiang Yuan received was of the highest caliber, allowing an unlimited number of guests to accompany him. As Jiang Yuan and his companions boarded the cruise to Paradise Island, an overwhelming sense of excitement filled the air. After all, securing a chance to visit Paradise Island was an exceedingly rare privilege. How fortunate it was! Without Peter, this group would likely have never approached the enigmatic Paradise Island. His family's business was immensely successful. It was said that they ran a formidable multinational corporation. However, whispers suggested that Peter was merely the least accomplished of their 4 sons. Yet what did that matter? The legacy of his parents was undeniably powerful, affording even him special consideration from Paradise Island, as evidenced by the extraordinary invitation he held. How enviable it was to have such a father. Misunderstood, Peter basked in a sense of pride, convinced that the invitation was indeed a result of his parents' influence, never once considering Jiang Yuan's role in it. The only person privy to the truth was Jiang Yuan himself. A subtle smile graced his face, but he had no intention of exposing Peter's deception just yet. Rather, he gazed curiously at Paradise Island, pondering what secrets it held that could entice so many. Could there be treasures hidden within? Yet, even treasures seemed unlikely to stir his heart. As Jiang Yuan's thoughts wandered, the matter of Yi Ran gradually surfaced in his mind. A man of deep loyalty, he could not remain indifferent to the plight of any woman he knew, particularly one as familiar as Yi Ran. The memory of her wilted expression in the CF, the result of some powerful figure from the Zhang family, ignited a genuine fury within him. If one sought revenge, why involve the innocent Yi Ran? Jiang Yuan's countenance darkened as he stared into the vast ocean, while a near-perfect island emerged in the distance. At that moment, a warm fragrance wafted past his ears, an exquisite scent of high-end women's perfume mingled with a natural aroma that filled his senses. What are you thinking about? Sun Yunj asked with a playful smile. Jiang Yuan slowly shook his head, replying nothing. Yet, Sun Yunj seemed to intuit his thoughts, her face illuminating with a mysterious smile. You don't have to say it. I know you're thinking about that girl, Yi Ran, right? As for information regarding that individual from the Zhang family, since you've been my boyfriend for half a day, I might consider sharing half the truth with you. Upon hearing her words, Jiang Yuan's eyes instantly gleamed with intrigue as he grasped her hand and inquired, "What exactly do you know? Even if it's just half, please tell me." It seemed that Sun Yunj had been waiting for this very question. A mysterious smile danced upon her lips as she leaned closer to Jiang Yuan's ear and whispered, "All right, then give me a kiss as a reward." Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan, ever forthright, wasted no time and gently embraced her, planting a soft kiss on her cheek. After all, Sun Yunj was no ordinary beauty, far surpassing the likes of Chen Yinyan. Such an opportunity was not to be missed. Consequently, Jiang Yuan's actions were fluid and decisive. "Now can I speak?" he asked. Sun Yunj blushed, resembling a ripe apple, and nodded. Though she had made the request, she was not quite prepared for it. She had anticipated some negotiation before he would act. However, to her surprise, Jiang Yuan had acted without hesitation. Truly a man of action, she mused. According to the intelligence gathered by the Sun family, there were numerous discrepancies surrounding the incident with the Zhang family years ago, and it was highly likely that Yi Ran's father was also among the victims, Sun Yunj remarked. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan felt a sense of foreboding that he had subconsciously entertained for some time. Thus, he was not overly astonished. Jiang Yuan calmly analyzed, indeed, I have always sensed something amiss. If the rumors are to be believed, and Yi Jingshan had an affair with the Zhang family's betrothed, even fathering a child with one of them, it would undoubtedly be a scandal of grave proportions. The appropriate course of action would be to strictly contain the information. Even if it were to leak, the Zhang family should have issued a denial. Yet, they seem to have tacitly accepted such claims, which is exceedingly unusual. Sun Yunj nodded in agreement, a smile gracing her features. Well said. Your insights are quite astute. The matter is indeed far more complex than the rumors suggest. At this juncture, a rare seriousness crossed her face. Jiang Yuan, based on the information we have, it is true that Yi Jingshan had close ties with the Zhang family in his youth. As a passionate antique connoisseur, he mingled closely with several youths from the Zhang and Tang families. However, he later severed ties with them due to an unforeseen incident. I suspect the affairs concerning Yi Ran are intricately linked to these individuals, Sun Yunj elaborated. Jiang Yuan furrowed his brow. He had not anticipated that Yi Ran's circumstances would involve the Tang family as well. Recalling Tang Long from that day, a shiver of trepidation coursed through him. That man was undeniably a formidable figure, unmatched in demeanor or conduct by anyone he had encountered before. The connection between Yi Ran's situation and the Tang family raised troubling questions about the secrets surrounding her father. Were they intent on silencing him? Shall we let this secret vanish forever? Do you have any news? Speak quickly, Jiang Yuan urged. However, Sun Yunj ceased her words, tilting her chin to beckon Jiang Yuan to observe outside. Upon his glance, he discovered that indeed the cruise ship had halted, and their party had arrived at Paradise Island. I shall reveal the remaining half of the news after today, Sun Yunj remarked with a smile. Jiang Yuan. Chapter 254. Paradise Island. In the depths of Jiang Yuan's mind, a surge of skepticism arose, pondering whether Sun Yungu, as a scion of the Sun family, had perhaps once acquired some PUA-like techniques from eccentric individuals. With just a few words, his curiosity was piqued, yet the conversation remained tantalizingly incomplete, nearly ensnaring him in a perplexing mental loop. Quite impressive indeed. During his university years, Jiang Yuan had known several charming individuals, one of whom was particularly adept in the art of PUA, consistently boasting to Jiang Yuan and his friends about his remarkable skills. However, Jiang Yuan harbored a deep disdain for such techniques, never anticipating that he would almost fall into the same trap today. Nevertheless, based on the information at hand, it was evident that the Yi family had indeed offended the Zhang and Tang families concerning a particular matter, with Yi Ran's father bearing the brunt of the responsibility. The most pressing issue now was to uncover the truth of that incident. What exactly did Yi Ran's father know? What secrets intertwined the Zhang and Tang families? If I were to unravel this mystery, I could certainly leverage it against that old scoundrel Tang Long, compelling him to wed Tang Chenxin to me. And as for the Zhang family, I would simply let them bleed profusely. Jiang Yuan contemplated this with clarity. He realized that this situation was likely far more complex than it appeared on the surface. The underlying issues were potentially critical. Otherwise, the Zhang and Tang families would hardly concern themselves with a mere individual from Nanqing, unless this person held a secret they could not tolerate. Jiang Yuan understood that becoming embroiled in this matter would inevitably place him in peril. Yet, risk and opportunity often coexist. The greater the risk, the more substantial the opportunity, culminating in significant rewards. Should he manage to grasp the intricacies of this affair, he would undoubtedly possess a strong hand, affording him an advantage against Tang Long. He was acutely aware that even under the pressure from numerous influential figures, Tang Long had ultimately relented due to a clandestine agreement with the Technology Bureau. Although Jiang Yuan was oblivious to the specifics of that accord, he recognized that such an occurrence could transpire once, but the likelihood of a second occurrence was exceedingly slim, and a third was nearly impossible. To contend with his father-in-law, Tang Long, Jiang Yuan needed to develop additional strategies. This society is cold and unfeeling. It is the presence of beauties like Miss Tang that can warm my spirit, Jiang Yuan sighed inwardly. As he pondered these matters, the guests aboard the cruise ship had already disembarked onto the small island, officially commencing their exploration of this paradise. The first sights to greet their eyes were a series of ocean view villas. Each villa was outfitted with the latest in smart home technology, harmoniously blending cutting-edge fashion with modern conveniences, their interiors resembling an alluring treasure trove, not merely showcasing internal elegance. The exteriors of these villa clusters are resplendent to the point of being ostentatious. It is said that the architectural design of each villa on Paradise Island was conceived by a consortium of the world's foremost exterior design experts. resulting in a synthesis of practicality and unparalleled aesthetic appeal. Even when juxtaposed with the most opulent villas in the Jianyuan district of South City, these residences hold their own magnificently. Notably, the number of villas here surpasses that in South City, creating an awe-inspiring spectacle of grandeur when viewed collectively. What stunning villa clusters they are. Each individual villa could easily be valued in the hundreds of millions, and when considered as a whole, the potential selling price is beyond my imagination. Sell? If I were the owner of these villas, I would never part with them, not even under duress. Such a collection of beautiful and luxurious villas would be akin to possessing palaces in ancient times. I might even indulge in the fantasy of housing a beauty in each villa. Yet, one might jest that such dreams are fanciful. It would be wise to consume less alcohol and more wholesome food. Can all these villas truly be yours? To possess even one would be a fortune accrued over generations. Concealing a woman in each villa is not difficult. The true challenge lies in owning so many exquisite and costly villas. Ah, how I envy the owner of Paradise Island. No, he is not merely a man. He verges on the divine. To simultaneously possess such a multitude of palatial villas is incomprehensible. Were I a woman, my ambition would surely be to marry him. Jiang Yuan, overhearing their increasingly off-topic conversation, could not help but grimace, internally lamenting. What nonsense. If you were a woman, I would have no desire to marry you. I value a woman's inner qualities above all. Peter, gazing upon the villa clusters surrounding Paradise Island, felt his eyes widen with wonder. He was no stranger to luxury, having been exposed to opulent possessions due to his parents. However, the appearance of these villas was refreshing, igniting a sense of greed within him as he fantasized about owning them all. Particularly enticing was the knowledge that these homes were constructed using cutting-edge technology, stirring within him an insatiable desire to explore further. Unexpectedly, when he placed his hand upon the villa's biometric lock, it granted him access. Could it be that the invitation he received conferred upon them the privilege to tour these unoccupied villas? Peter was overwhelmed with joy. Those around him nodded in agreement. Given that the invitation was extended in consideration of Peter's parents, it was only natural to grant him certain special privileges, which was hardly surprising. Only Jiang Yuan is aware that this might be a ploy by Song Kaiju to indulge in self-praise, granting access for herself and her friends to explore this paradise island at their leisure. Just as the moment arrived, the eager onlookers could no longer contain their excitement, yearning to witness the marvels of cutting-edge technology housed within these opulent villas. They began to stream in, one after another, into the villa's embrace. Jiang Yuan cast a fleeting glance at her, only to realize she remained quietly by his side, refraining from advancing further. Jiang Yuan, does this paradise island hold significant ties to you? Or is it, perchance, yours? Sun Yunji suddenly inquired. Chapter 255, The Blind Secretary Song, Kaijuo? Jiang Yuan turned his gaze slightly, sensing that Sun Yunji was somewhat extraordinary for her accurate speculation. Perhaps it was indeed a manifestation of a woman's sixth sense. Why do you think so? Sun Yunji inquired. Upon our arrival on the island, the reception staff's attitude towards you was markedly different, and there was a girl nearby who kept observing you discreetly, she deduced. Jiang Yuan suddenly realized that although the staff's demeanor towards him was subtle upon their arrival at Paradise Island, it had not escaped Sun Yunji's keen perception. Clearly, there was an innate reverence that these individuals held for him. Women possess a naturally sensitive and suspicious disposition. Such formidable insight would be splendid if applied to a career in detective work, Jiang Yuan mused. However, with a flicker of his eyes, he seemed disinclined to answer her question directly. Perhaps yes, perhaps no, Jiang Yuan replied ambiguously. Sun Yunji understood that Jiang Yuan was retaliating for her earlier incomplete statement. In this life, I detest two types of people, those who speak halfway and the other type. Sun Yunji cast a disdainful glance at Jiang Yuan, adorably huffing as she turned her head away in a fit of pique. Jiang Yuan smiled softly, taking her hand, poised to say something when, at that moment, a girl approached from a distance. This girl possessed a rather peculiar appearance, capturing Sun Yunji's attention, albeit subtly. Her hair was dyed a silvery white, and the upper portion of her face, above her nose, was mostly concealed by a black mask, lending her an air of mystery. Only her slightly exposed, chocolate-colored lips revealed a captivating allure. Is it a mask for the blind? Is she blind? Sun Yunji couldn't help but ponder. Yet, her figure was exquisite, and her nose and lips were finely shaped. If the mask were removed, her beauty would likely rival that of myself. Unavoidably, her feminine instincts emerged. and she found herself comparing this sudden stranger with her own appearance. Even a goddess of Sun Yunji's caliber felt an urge to measure herself against this blind girl, who bore a resemblance to the Venus de Milo, albeit with her eyes shrouded rather than her arms. This unique beauty, marked by a hint of imperfection, radiated an extraordinary charm. Even Jiang Yuan found himself momentarily captivated. Why is it that the more beautiful a woman is, the more tantalizing she appears when blindfolded? Perhaps it is akin to the allure of a partially concealed beauty. As many guests had already entered the villa complex, they gathered on the balconies, gazing at the picturesque beach of Paradise Island, where the water shimmered in a striking deep blue hue. They soon noticed the presence of the blind girl, gasping in awe. The girl downstairs, she is so unique. Why does the black mask adorning her face exude such exquisite beauty? I desire her contact information. She must be a staff member here, right? Including myself. I wish to obtain her contact details as well. The blind woman gracefully approached Jiang Yuan, slightly bowing to express her loyalty and friendliness. Jiang Yuan's mind stirred, and he inquired, "You must be Song Kaiju, correct?" The blind woman gently nodded, revealing a rather sweet smile, resembling a well-behaved neighborly girl. Jiang Yuan suddenly realized that this was the secretary, Song Kaiju, who had contacted him to come for an inspection. He was taken aback to discover that she was blind, yet possessed such a gentle demeanor and unique appearance, radiating a blend of 7 parts mystery and 3 parts beauty. While other secretaries from different companies were also known for their sweet looks and slender figures, Song Kaiju emanated an air of mystique that pleasantly surprised Jiang Yuan. It seemed she had a penchant for black. Not only was her face adorned with a black mask, but she was also dressed in a black gown that accentuated her striking figure, captivating to behold. "Mr. Jiang, you have traveled a long way and must be weary. We have meticulously arranged a water bath spa for your enjoyment," Song Kaiju said with a soft smile. The corners of her lips turned upward, and Jiang Yuan could clearly see her crescent-shaped eyes through the black mask, igniting a fervent desire within him to unveil her true visage. However, mindful of maintaining his image with Sun Yunj present, Jiang Yuan refrained from acting on this impulse. "Very well, lead the way," he replied nonchalantly. "Wait, just the two of you?" Sun Yunj's heart tightened. "No, I must join as well." Song Kaiju, understanding the situation, remarked, "Our water bath utilizes pure natural volcanic spring water, which is highly beneficial for women's skin. It would be best for this young lady to accompany us." Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan consented to Sun Yunj joining them for the water bath. Under Song Kaiju's guidance, the three soon found themselves wrapped in towels, soaking in the misty hot springs, though they maintained a slight distance, demarcating the boundaries between men and women. Jiang Yuan was indifferent to this separation. If he wished to bridge the gap, he believed neither Sun Yunj nor Song Kaiju would object. He was eager to indulge in the unique experience of this water, which was unlike any other. As soon as his body made contact with the spring, it felt as if a parched sponge had returned to water, absorbing it comfortably. As Jiang Yuan chatted intermittently with Song Kaiju and Sun Yunj, he pondered aloud, how did such spring water come to be on this paradise island? Is there an active volcano here? Song Kaiju naturally responded, "Indeed, there is a Jinni volcano. The surrounding land is incredibly fertile due to this volcano, making local crops like citrus, bananas, coffee, and coconuts far superior to those from elsewhere." Jiang Yuan's eyes sparkled with delight upon discovering the presence of an active volcano. It is said that in such places, the local populace typically eschews cremation or burial, opting instead for sky burial, which imbues the atmosphere with an aura of enigmatic adventure that Jiang Yuan found particularly appealing. However, Sun Yun shrank back slightly, her expression tinged with unease as she voiced her concern. "Surely this active volcano won't erupt, will it? Are we in any danger?" In response, Song Kaiju smiled reassuringly and explained, "The activity of this volcano has significantly diminished in recent years, and the risks are quite low, so you need not worry." Notably, she had not removed her black mask even while enjoying the hot springs. Though blind, it did not impede her normal activities in the slightest. Jiang Yuan casually commanded, "Song Kaiju, come over and help me scrub my back." "Of course, please wait a moment," she replied. Sun Yunj. Chapter 256. A visit to the luxurious island. Jiang Yuan casually issued a command, feeling somewhat fatigued after a series of recent events that urged him to seek relaxation. He merely desired to find a massage therapist to ease his shoulders and back. However, Sun Yungu, consumed by jealousy, hastily remarked, "Just arrange for a few male masseurs." "Why must you go personally?" Song Kaiju, feeling a bit embarrassed, replied, but we only have female therapists here, and I have specialized in massage myself. I possess the finest skills in this establishment. Hearing this, Sun Yun-gu reluctantly conceded, allowing her to proceed. After all, she believed she was close enough to the two to discern their activities through the thin veil of mist. Rising from her seat, Song Kai-ju approached Jiang Yuan. Shortly thereafter, the air was filled with Jiang Yuan's rather indulgent sounds of pleasure. A bit harder, yes, just like that. Ah, so comfortable, truly exquisite. It had been quite some time since Jiang Yuan had enjoyed such pampering, especially in a location with such pristine waters. It was undeniably relaxing. Meanwhile, Sun Yun-gu felt her face flush with embarrassment and irritation. How could Jiang Yuan make such peculiar noises during a massage? As Jiang Yuan reveled in Song Kai-ju's meticulous ministrations, he casually inquired, "What attractions does Paradise Island offer? Let us explore them together later." In response, Song Kai-ju began to provide a detailed introduction to the various attractions of Paradise Island while continuing her careful massage. Through her thoughtful explanations, Jiang Yuan quickly learned a wealth of information about the island. For instance, there was the thrilling water adventure known as Courage River Rafting, which spanned 20 kilometers and featured 31 rapids. The banks were adorned with pristine forests, offering both breathtaking scenery and exhilarating excitement. Additionally, there was the stunning Golden Coast, where one could enjoy a romantic evening watching the sunset while savoring seafood barbecue and candlelit dinners. At the heart of the island stood the Crystal Palace, a magnificent structure designed collaboratively by renowned artists, boasting over 90 rooms, exquisite craftsmanship, and grand gilded decorations. Such a wealth of experiences, Jiang Yuan exclaimed, genuinely surprised. Previously, during his time on Maplefish Island, he had observed that the most intriguing sight was merely the fishing lake, with little else of note. However, upon arriving at Paradise Island, he was inundated with delightful surprises, not to mention the opulent villas he had witnessed. Listening to Song Kai-ju describe so many captivating attractions and the Central Crystal Palace made Jiang Yuan feel as though he had stumbled upon a treasure. Though he had anticipated encountering delightful surprises on Paradise Island, the reality exceeded his expectations. Upon the actual arrival, he was unexpectedly astonished to discover that the surprises far exceeded his initial imaginings. "Let's head out," Jiang Yuan suggested. Song Kai-ju obediently responded with a soft her hands tirelessly kneading Jiang Yuan's shoulders and back. Jiang Yuan, in bliss, let out a contented hum and began to close his eyes, immersing himself in the experience. After approximately an hour, he finally changed out his bathrobe and donned his own clothes once more. Following this, he, alongside Sun Yunch, under Song Kai-ju's guidance, arrived at the starting point for the Yonge River rafting. However, upon their arrival, they discovered a kayak already docked there. Sun Yunch, somewhat surprised, remarked, "Yin Yin, how did she and Peter end up here?" Song Kai-ju explained, "They seem to be the contractors of the nearby Fengyu Island, quite familiar with this small isle. Perhaps they have long coveted the Yonge River rafting experience." Jiang Yuan and Sun Yunch suddenly realized that these two had already been eagerly anticipating the recreational activities of Paradise Island. Meanwhile, Peter and Shin Yin were cautiously preparing for various situations they might encounter during the rafting. As Peter busily organized their gear, he boasted to Chun Yin with great pride. "During my university years, I served as a manager at a highly esteemed rafting company, and I was quite adept there. I set numerous speed records in rafting. Moreover, my safety record is impeccable. No incidents occurred during my tenure, so you can rest assured. My kayak is a top-tier Nepali model, renowned for its performance and safety." Initially, Chun Yin had harbored a diminished fondness for Peter due to Jiang Yuan's influence. However, after some reflection, she concluded that since she was already engaged to him, and Jiang Yuan exhibited indifference towards her, it would be wiser to focus on nurturing her relationship with Peter. Thus, when she heard Peter continuously extolling his rafting skills and kayak, she found herself looking at him with heightened anticipation. Just as they were finalizing their preparations to embark, Peter's gaze caught sight of a striking orange kayak in the distance. He gasped in astonishment, exclaiming, "Is that a kayak's high-end kayak?" Chun Yin, taken aback, inquired, "What is so special about a kayak? Is it rare?" Peter, stubbornly maintaining his facade, replied, "It's decent, but it cannot compare to ours." In truth, he had told a small fib. The kayak was evidently superior to his Nepali model. Yet, to preserve his pride in front of his fiancée, he chose to embellish the truth. Internally, Peter was also quite surprised. How could such an expensive kayak be here? Chun Yin, perceptive and well acquainted with Peter's character after spending considerable time together, quickly sensed that he was indeed lying. It was clear that the kayak in question was not only more expensive, but significantly so. What astonished Chun Yinyan the most was that upon carefully observing the individuals in the kayak, she felt a sudden imbalance in her emotions. To her surprise, her close friends Sun Yunj and Jiang Yuan were unmistakably seated together in that very kayak. Peter also noticed the two of them, along with Song Kaiju, who was responsible for navigating the kayak. Much like most men, Peter was immediately captivated by the enigmatic allure of Song Kaiju upon first sight. What a mysterious blind woman, adorned with a black eye mask and a black dress. He longed to glimpse the visage concealed beneath her mask. Peter mused inwardly. Chapter 257. River rafting in a black dress that exquisitely accentuated her graceful figure. Song Kaiju exuded an unparalleled charm, captivating even Sun Yunj. Peter, utterly mesmerized, found himself momentarily lost in her beauty. In stark contrast, Chun Yinyan, seated beside him, appeared somewhat lackluster, unable to match the elegance radiating from Song Kaiju. Aware of this disparity, Chun Yinyan cast a furious glance at her fiancé, Peter, who was completely engrossed in Song Kaiju, neglecting even a glance in her direction. This blatant disregard ignited a firestorm of anger within her. "Why aren't we leaving yet? What are you waiting for?" Chun Yinyan exclaimed, breaking the silence. Only then did Peter realize his lapse in decorum, feeling a mix of confusion and self-reproach for his behavior. How could this woman, clad in a black dress and wearing a matching mask, so enchant him that he became utterly distracted? Resolutely, he averted his gaze and hastily began steering the kayak for their expedition. Meanwhile, Jiang Yuan observed the unfolding drama with quiet amusement, deeming Peter a rather ineffectual man. It was astonishing how easily he revealed such a pitiful demeanor in the presence of a woman with a slightly unique allure, especially before his fiancée, Chun Yinyan. Jiang Yuan mused that even if faced with the striking Song Kaiju, he would not have succumbed to such a display of weakness. A testament to the disparity between the two men's characters. As Peter's kayak drifted away, Song Kaiju, unwilling to be outdone, accelerated her own preparations. Within a mere 5 minutes, Jiang Yuan and his companions set forth on their rafting adventure. Song Kaiju's rafting skills appeared exceptionally refined. The journey was not only smooth, but also exhilarating, leaving Jiang Yuan with a sense of awe. As the landscape whizzed past, he could distinctly feel their kayak slicing through the water with the swiftness of an arrow. The quality and performance of the kayak were commendable, yet it was Song Kaiju's adeptness that truly shone. Jiang Yuan silently acknowledged her prowess. Having dabbled in water rafting himself on a few occasions, he considered himself somewhat knowledgeable. Yet Song Kaiju's skills surpassed those of several renowned rafters he had encountered. Inquisitively, Jiang Yuan asked, "Have you undergone formal training in rafting?" While skillfully maneuvering the kayak, Song Kaiju replied, "Indeed, I trained with a master for several years, and I've even won a few championships." Her words made Jiang Yuan feel as if he had stumbled upon a treasure. His secretary, Song Kaiju, was truly multi-talented, not only excelling in the art of massage and sauna, which had left him feeling utterly relaxed and content. At this moment, I unexpectedly discovered yet another remarkable talent of hers. She exhibits such proficiency in managing kayaking and water drifting, truly a multifaceted young woman, captivating in every sense. Sun Yunji could not help but express admiration. "I have engaged in various water drifting activities, yet today's experience surpassed anything I have encountered before in sheer exhilaration." The kayak that the three of them occupied was remarkably swift, surpassing Peter and Chun Yinyan, who had set off much earlier, in approximately 10 minutes. Peter and Chun Yinyan could only perceive a dark shadow zipping past them, and in an instant, they found Jiang Yuan and her companions far ahead. Peter was utterly astonished. He never imagined that, despite his background as a professional rafting manager, he would be outmatched by the skills of a young girl. Meanwhile, Chun Yinyan felt even more displeased, her jealousy towards Jiang Yuan and Sun Yunji deepening. Numerous guests also witnessed Jiang Yuan's astonishingly fast kayak, erupting in exclamations of awe. One astonishing speed for that kayak. Who could be on it? It's too far away to discern, but the model seems vaguely familiar. Is that a high-end kayak? Such a model must be a custom edition. Even the most basic version of a kayak costs around hundreds of thousands. This premium custom version must be exorbitantly priced. The speed of this kayak is indeed frightening, enhanced not only by its superior performance, but also by the exceptional skill of its operator. How exhilarating! I wish to try as well. The kayaking and water drifting activity undoubtedly captivated the attention of most, as they were primarily gathered at the villa's peak, able to observe the thrilling scene below. In contrast to the spectators, Jiang Yuan's first-hand experience was far more exhilarating, flanked by two stunning young women on either side. The adrenaline from the high-speed drifting surged within him, making him feel as if he had transformed into a fish gliding through the ocean, utterly delightful. The overall course of the drift spanned approximately several dozen kilometers, featuring numerous rapids. Upon reaching their destination, all three could not help but exhale in relief, with Jiang Yuan feeling invigorated, filled with the vitality of an adventurer. Upon seeing Song Kaiju, Jiang Yuan could not resist inquiring, "How is it that you navigate so adeptly without being able to see?" Song Kaiju smiled gently and replied, "Although I cannot see, I have my ears, which allow me to clearly hear the sound of the flowing water to gauge my position. Moreover, I have lived and worked here for many years, becoming intimately familiar with the river's pathways." Upon hearing this explanation, Jiang Yuan nodded in understanding. It was no wonder her speed was so astonishing. Meanwhile, Sun Yunji, unable to contain her curiosity, transformed into a curious child, asking Song Kaiju, "May I see what you look like without your mask?" Upon hearing Sun Yunji's words, Jiang Yuan could not help but gaze at Song Kaiju, revealing a look somewhat akin to that of Sun Yunji. In truth, Jiang Yuan had long been restless over this matter, keenly desiring to behold the visage of Song Kaiju once she removed her black eye mask. At this moment, most of Song Kaiju's visage was shrouded by the mask, leaving only her chocolate-hued lips exposed, which piqued Jiang Yuan's curiosity immensely. For, judging solely by her lips and figure, she undoubtedly appeared to be an exceptionally beautiful young woman. Yet, as the saying goes, one cannot die of longing without seeing the Yellow River. Who can accurately ascertain the true appearance of Song Kaiju? Chapter 258. The luxurious Crystal Palace. Jiang Yuan chimed in, expressing his desire to see it as well. Initially, upon hearing Sun Yunji's request, Song Kaiju intended to divert the topic or outright refuse. However, since Jiang Yuan had also voiced his interest, she found it difficult to decline. With a swift thought, Song Kaiju remarked, "We do have a rule here that requires blind women to wear black eye masks. However, this regulation can be easily overturned if you earn the approval of my sisters." Upon hearing Song Kaiju's words, Jiang Yuan recalled a similar saying he had encountered before. Among the island's inhabitants, who typically worshipped the sea deity, there existed a belief that blind women were inherently cursed by the sea god and must don black eye masks to survive, concealing their eyes from others to avoid misfortune. Yet, if they could gain the recognition of a special group, they would be permitted to remove the masks. Is it possible that in this day and age, such beliefs still persist? Jiang Yuan scoffed. As a staunch atheist, he regarded such notions with skepticism, attributing them to natural phenomena. Nevertheless, he understood the local customs that Song Kaiju represented. Unable to contain her curiosity, Sun Yunji inquired, "What must we do to earn your sister's approval?" Song Kaiju pondered for a moment before responding, "That depends on your abilities." Jiang Yuan shot her a sidelong glance, noting that this secretary of his possessed quite a distinct personality, unlike others who merely adhered to his every command. This individuality stemmed from the island's cultural ethos, which celebrated freedom and joy, allowing her to remain assertive despite her position as Jiang Yuan's secretary. Time was of the essence, and the trio swiftly prepared to embark on their next destination, the Crystal Palace. If the guests who had accompanied them thus far found the seaside villas captivating, the Crystal Palace would surely leave them utterly astonished. In truth, those so-called beach villas were merely accommodations for outsiders, while the true treasures lay within the Crystal Palace at the heart of Paradise Island. Although most guests were unaware of this fact, a select few had long cast covetous glances toward the central Crystal Palace, harboring a deep curiosity to gain entry. Unfortunately, despite their arduous efforts to reach the central area and finally catch sight of the breathtaking Crystal Palace, they found themselves unable to enter, relegated to the bittersweet experience of gazing longingly at something they could not possess. This is a palace of unparalleled opulence, its exterior resembling a silver edifice cloaked in a blanket of ice and snow, akin to the ethereal abode sung of an ancient poetry and myth. It exudes not only an air of regal grandeur, but also a profound celestial essence, inviting admiration from afar while remaining untouchable. It is breathtakingly beautiful, truly the most magnificent work of art I have ever encountered, transcending the mere concept of a residence. It is said to be a landmark structure on Paradise Island, Having once summoned the world's most renowned 13 artists to collaboratively design every intricate detail of the Crystal Palace, imbuing it with the essence of their lifelong dedication. It is no wonder that every facet here seems to harbor diverse cultural symbols, a masterpiece of astonishing craftsmanship. How regrettable it is that we cannot venture inside to behold it. Indeed, having journeyed here, yet being unable to explore its interiors, we are left with a sense of disappointment akin to arriving at a treasure trove only to depart empty-handed. Alas, even if we wish to enter, it would be an impossible endeavor. The entrance to the Crystal Palace is guarded by stringent scrutiny and a team of expert security personnel. For us, seeking an opportunity to gain entry is utterly futile. It is lamentable considering the effort it took to arrive at this place. Yet we remain barred from witnessing the countless treasures within. Just as they lamented their inability to enter the Crystal Palace, Jiang Yuan and his companions boldly stepped inside. Encountering no resistance whatsoever, they appeared utterly composed, as if returning to their own home, strolling leisurely within. The experts safeguarding the palace, in turn, showed them the utmost respect, akin to dutiful stewards welcoming their master home. This scene left everyone astounded. Ding! Shock value 1000 ding! Shock value 1000 ding! Shock value 1000 ding! Shock value 1000 ding! Shock value 1000. I had sensed something amiss long before. Who exactly is Jiang Yuan? How is it that he can enter and exit the Crystal Palace with such ease? Unimpeded? Perhaps our initial assumptions were misguided. Although it was Peter who informed us of his father's influence, leading us to accept the invitation to Paradise Island. It was merely one perspective. We should not have accepted it so readily. Now, a new thought has taken root in my mind. Indeed, I too have conceived a fresh idea. Perhaps the true reason for Paradise Island's invitation lies with Jiang Yuan himself. It is exceedingly perplexing that Jiang Yuan possesses the authority to enter the Crystal Palace. This alone is astonishing and unfathomable. Moreover, considering Jiang Yuan's remarkable performance during the Tang family's birthday celebration not long ago, it seems that everything aligns in a remarkably logical manner. Terrifying, truly terrifying. What could Jiang Yuan's true identity be? Even the Paradise Island treats him with utmost reverence, showing no signs of negligence. If we were to venture a bolder speculation, could it be that Jiang Yuan shares a profound connection with the master of this Paradise Island? Chapter 259. The Crystal Throne. As Jiang Yuan stepped into the magnificent Crystal Palace, he was immediately struck by the grandeur and splendor of the surroundings. The seemingly endless corridors stretched out before him, adorned with brilliant lights that twinkled like stars and embellished with golden decorations. Countless exquisite murals graced the walls. At the pinnacle of this opulence stood a throne, uniquely designated for the ruler of the Crystal Palace, the sole throne within its vast expanse. What a beautiful throne! Jiang Yuan marveled. However, it was positioned too far for a close examination. Even with his refined perspective, the sight of a throne that overshadowed all else evoked a profound sense of awe within him. Beside him, Song Kaiju offered a gentle smile and remarked, "This is your designated seat." The artists envisioned this design to accentuate an aura of unparalleled majesty, intentionally placing the throne high above the countless lofty corridors. Jiang Yuan, entranced by the throne's magnetic allure, felt an irresistible pull drawing him closer. Step by step, he ascended the stairs, which appeared endless yet cleverly exploited a visual illusion. After approximately 5 minutes of climbing, he finally reached the resplendent throne. Its surface was cool to the touch, reminiscent of caressing a cold statue. Yet it radiated an innate authority. Unable to resist, Jiang Yuan caressed the throne, feeling a deep attachment. I never anticipated that my arrival at the Crystal Palace would bestow such an astonishing surprise, he exclaimed. The throne seemed to be coated in a layer of exceptionally pure gold, dazzling in its brilliance. Moreover, its design was remarkably sophisticated, with a meticulous distribution of the golden elements. After merely a glance, a sense of grandeur welled up within Jiang Yuan, as if a domineering essence was brewing in his chest. He could not help but sit down, instantly gaining a view of the entire Crystal Palace. An overwhelming sense of supremacy surging from his heart. This sensation was utterly exquisite. It felt as though he had taken a deep draught of fine wine, leaving him somewhat intoxicated. Simply sitting upon this extraordinary throne and surveying the magnificence of the Crystal Palace was enough for Jiang Yuan to deem his journey to this Paradise Island worthwhile. At the moment he claimed the throne, Sun Yunj felt herself momentarily entranced. From her vantage point, Jiang Yuan rested his chin on one hand, exuding the air of a languid monarch surveying his realm from the throne. The sheer force of his presence in that instant quickened her heartbeat. Many other young women within the Crystal Palace shared similar sentiments. The entire Crystal Palace stands as a quintessential architectural embodiment of Paradise Island. Sprawling across a quarter of its land, a truly magnificent sight. Within its confines, the multitude of hired help tasked with maintaining its daily operations numbers no fewer than 1,000, all of whom are women of remarkable beauty, each rated at least an 8 in appearance. As they beheld Jiang Yuan's commanding posture upon the crystalline throne, they could not help but feel a blush creeping upon their cheeks. This was their first encounter with the elusive master, Jiang Yuan, igniting a fervent curiosity amongst them. Could that handsome gentleman truly be our master? They mused, astonished by his youth and striking good looks, coupled with the formidable power to possess an entire Paradise Island, along with his splendid Crystal Palace. Is he truly the sole owner of this entire palace? I had assumed it was a joint venture. If it were solely one individual's asset, its worth must be at least in the billions. They speculated that the cumulative value of everything on Paradise Island likely far exceeded that figure, entering realms beyond their imagination. Yet aside from such musings, they couldn't help but admire the regal demeanor of this young man, resting his chin upon his hand, reminiscent of a king savoring the fruits of victory. What's his name? I heard Sister Kaiju mention he bears the surname Jiang, yet I am unaware of his full name. Do not become so enraptured by the handsome gentleman and the discussion of his name. We must promptly present the dishes Sister Kaiju has instructed us to prepare, lest we incur her wrath for tardiness. Despite their chatter, they remained mindful of their duties. Soon, under Song Kaiju's direction, an array of exquisite dishes was laid upon the dining table. A medley rice, fresh lettuce salad, specialty roasted pig, unique dirty duck, and seafood stir-fried noodles, 108 lavish dishes in total, adorning the lengthy table. Seated upon the throne of the palace, Jiang Yuan observed the meticulous preparations of the banquet, a smile gracing his lips. Over 100 individuals moved with the precision of diligent worker ants, each contributing to the sumptuous feast. The sensation was surreal, to witness an entire world laboring for one's own benefit, solely to prepare a meal. Unbeknownst to him, Jiang Yuan's perspective began to subtly shift. As he reclined on the throne of the Crystal Palace, he marveled at the artistry of its design, recognizing the architects as unparalleled geniuses. Even in his own luxurious residences in the Dongshan district of Nansheng or the Yuan Wangfu in Xiqing, he realized that neither could rival even half the extraordinary experience offered by the Crystal Palace. Setting aside the artistic mastery of the palace's layout, the mere design of the throne was enough to captivate him profoundly. Even as he prepared to rise from the throne to partake in a meal, a deep sense of reluctance enveloped him. However, the local delicacies of Paradise Island possess a unique charm of their own. The specialty roasted suckling pig rice, while not extravagant or refined, offers a hearty bowl brimming with pig's blood strips, shredded pork, and glistening crispy pig skin, embodying a rich folk flavor and a sense of fulfillment. Sun Yunj and Jiang Yuan, having just arrived, were encountering such local culinary delights for the first time, which ignited their appetites and prompted a delightful feast. Song Kaiju stood quietly nearby, a smile gracing her face as she observed the two enjoying their meal. Noticing Jiang Yuan's evident satisfaction with the food, her previously anxious heart was finally set at ease. However, when she caught sight of the surrounding maids blushing and casting furtive glances at Jiang Yuan, exchanging playful banter amongst themselves, she discreetly convened a small meeting. Meanwhile, as Jiang Yuan savored the delectable dishes, he casually remarked to Song Kaiju, "Do come to my room later." Chapter 260. Song Kaiyun, a seemingly casual remark from Jiang Yuan, ignited a wave of astonishment among those present. The maids erupted into a flurry of whispers, exchanging incredulous glances. Is Sister Kaiju really going to Mr. Jiang's room alone? They gasped. Wow, Sister Kaiju has truly transformed into a phoenix. Mr. Jiang is not even hinting. He is making it quite explicit. Envy washed over them. They longed for such an opportunity. Alas, it seemed that only Sister Kaiju was destined for such fortune. As the most beautiful among us, her serving Mr. Jiang appeared only fitting, did it not? Oh, how bittersweet it is. Sister Kaiju is indeed approaching that day. Jiang Yuan felt a wave of annoyance. What nonsense were they spouting? He merely wished to catch a glimpse of Song Kaiju. Yet, given their interpretations, it seemed he ought to take some action, lest he betray his own interest. He pondered this with a peculiar expression. Meanwhile, Song Kaiju lowered her head slightly. Despite her features being largely obscured by a black mask, Jiang Yuan could instinctively sense her embarrassment. Sun Yunj exclaimed incredulously, "Jiang Yuan, You are my boyfriend today? Initially, Jiang Yuan had no wicked intentions, but witnessing their misinterpretations, he decided to wear a mischievous smile. I almost forgot about that. Sun Yunch, if you wish to visit my room, I would not refuse you, he declared with an open grin. His laughter was audacious, his gaze piercing as if he could see through it all, radiating a fearless delight. This contemptuous yet reckless mirth caused Sun Yunch to blush deeply, nearly burying her face in the ground. Song Kaiju, however, remained silent, rising slightly to excuse herself from the table. Curiosity piqued, Sun Yunch inquired, "Where is she going?" Jiang Yuan continued to indulge in the roasted pig. Chuckling, she must be going to prepare herself. To add clarity, he elaborated, "Girls often make special preparations before visiting a boy's room." A twinge of jealousy crept into Sun Yunch's voice as she asked, "Do you really want her to go to your room?" Jiang Yuan, not meeting her gaze, lowered his eyelids slightly, a playful smile gracing his lips as he replied, "Of course. Do you wish to see her true face?" She pressed. It is difficult for any man to resist such curiosity, is it not? And aside from unveiling her visage, would you not be tempted to engage in other pursuits? Jiang Yuan rubbed the tip of his finger thoughtfully, replying, "Other pursuits? That depends on my mood." He was no paragon of virtue, nor did he care to masquerade as a cunning deceiver. He spoke his mind openly. Sun Yunch, taken aback, rose abruptly. "Are you serious, or is this a jest?" In response to her inquiry, Jiang Yuan remained remarkably composed, stating, "I have said it. It depends on my mood." For reasons unbeknownst to him, Sun Yunch sensed an additional layer of charisma enveloping Jiang Yuan, a quality he could only describe as domineering. It seemed that upon ascending the ice crystal throne, Jiang Yuan had acquired this inexplicable aura of authority, which inevitably colored his speech. As if recalling something, Jiang Yuan continued, "I almost forgot. You must visit my chamber shortly. You are to divulge every detail regarding Yiran." Listening to Jiang Yuan's assertions, Sun Yunch felt a sudden constriction in his breath, unable to summon the will to refuse. Even if thoughts of rejection surfaced, they remained trapped, unuttered. After a moment's hesitation, Sun Yunch replied, "Just don't cause any trouble. I will tell you everything." Jiang Yuan offered no denial, having already addressed her inquiry with an air of indifference, indicating that everything hinged on his mood. During the meal, Sun Yunch found himself somewhat anxious, while Jiang Yuan dined with remarkable satisfaction. The local delicacies of this heavenly isle possessed an irresistible allure for first-time visitors. Jiang Yuan even mused that he could indulge in such culinary delights for an entire month without growing weary. Once the meal concluded, Jiang Yuan, guided by a maid, naturally made his way to the largest chamber within the Ice Crystal Palace. "What is your name?" Jiang Yuan inquired of the maid. "My name is Song Kaiyun, and I am the cousin of Sister Kaiju," the maid replied. Jiang Yuan scrutinized her briefly. She was a youthful and charming beauty, around 19 years of age, with captivating, doe-like eyes that held an enchanting allure. Her features were soft and gentle, akin to a serene autumn lake, and she would likely grow into a breathtakingly beautiful woman in the coming years. However, her vision appeared entirely normal, unlike that of Song Kaiju, who was blind. "Why does your sister Kaiju wear a mask? Is it solely due to her blindness?" Jiang Yuan asked out of curiosity. Song Kaiyun hesitated, aware that this matter was typically not to be disclosed lightly. However, given Jiang Yuan's esteemed status as the master of the Ice Crystal Palace and Heaven Isle, it would be exceedingly inappropriate to refuse his inquiry. Not only that, but Sister Tsaiju's beauty has attracted undesirable attention in the past, which is why she conceals most of her face with a mask, Song Kaiyun divulged cautiously. Jiang Yuan pondered this for a moment before asking, "How did she lose her sight? Was it congenital?" Typically, if anyone else posed such a question, Song Kaiyun would have deflected with a simple acknowledgement. Yet, due to Jiang Yuan's unique position, she felt compelled to be truthful. Sister Kaiju lost her sight at the age of 12 while trying to rescue her younger siblings from a fire, she stated earnestly. As she recounted this event, a flicker of hatred crossed her features as she continued, "It is a pity we have yet to find the arsonist. Otherwise, I would ensure he faces the consequences." Jiang Yuan was taken aback by her revelation. "Has someone indeed committed arson here?" Song Kaiyun nodded emphatically, almost certainly. Jiang Yuan silently etched this matter into his mind. His secretary Song on Paradise Island could not suffer such a hidden injustice without consequence. He would inevitably rise to her defense, unearthing the arsonist responsible. As for her blinded eyes, Jiang Yuan would naturally devise a means to assist her. However, The most pressing concern at present was Jiang Yuan's profound curiosity regarding Song Caiju's true appearance. Chapter 261. The true face of Song Caiju within the exclusive ice crystal private chamber of the master. Jiang Yuan gently sipped a cup of rich, specially crafted coffee, made from coffee beans native to Paradise Island, a treasure that was nearly impossible to acquire elsewhere. The flavor of this coffee mirrored Jiang Yuan's own life. Initially bitter, it gradually yielded a profound sweetness that lingered on his palate. From Nan City to Xia City, and now to the capital, he reveled in the exhilarating ascent of his life, feeling quite content in his recent triumphs. After the clamor and bustle of life, the prospect of anonymity on this small island seemed like an appealing option. As he savored the coffee, this thought unexpectedly crossed his mind. The picturesque scenery of Paradise Island, coupled with the fresh air and a multitude of charming maids attending to him, made it a prime candidate for a private sanctuary in retirement. Once all matters were settled, Jiang Yuan genuinely contemplated living a carefree life here, provided he had sufficiently indulged in his adventures. Just as he was lost in contemplation, there was a soft knock on the bedroom door. "Come in," Jiang Yuan said. Upon receiving his permission, the door was pushed open by a pair of delicate hands, revealing a face adorned with strikingly gentle features. She approached him with a blend of coyness and ethereal grace, moving softly until she stood before Jiang Yuan. This exquisitely gentle and demure woman stirred even Jiang Yuan's heart, causing it to flutter momentarily. "Song Caiju?" Jiang Yuan's eyes sparkled with recognition. "Yes, it's me," she replied softly. Though Jiang Yuan had anticipated her beauty, the reality of her presence left him momentarily speechless. Her closed phoenix eyes, the succulent, peach-like softness of her cheeks, and her petite, charming lips were enough to awaken the beast within any man, compelling them to exclaim how captivating she was. Fortunately, Jiang Yuan was a man of experience. Having witnessed countless spectacles, he maintained his composure, refraining from displaying any unbecoming reaction. Song Caiju, with a keen awareness, gracefully moved to Jiang Yuan's side, lowering her head slightly, awaiting his commands. However, after a prolonged silence with no words from Jiang Yuan, she looked up in confusion, only to meet his curious gaze. Her cheeks flushed with a rosy hue. Having grown up on Paradise Island, her interactions with men had been exceedingly rare. The intensity of Jiang Yuan's gaze rendered her face as red as a ripe apple. "What a pity!" Jiang Yuan suddenly exclaimed. "What do you mean by what a pity?" Song Caiju inquired, puzzled. "What a pity that such a beautiful face has been concealed beneath a black mask for so long. It is truly a shame," Jiang Yuan remarked, reaching out to gently caress Song Caiju's cheek. His words were quite explicit, and Song Caiju's cheeks were already flushed with a rosy hue. Now, she resembled a kettle of boiling water, steaming profusely. She fidgeted restlessly, as if she wished to burrow into the ground. Just as she felt overwhelmed, Jiang Yuan finally decided that the jest had gone on long enough and smiled contentedly. "I will call you shortly. You must recount every detail regarding that arson case from years ago to the person on the other end of the line." Chapter 262. Crucial intelligence. Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's words, Song Caiju was momentarily taken aback, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. She understood that Jiang Yuan was poised to stand up for her, to seek justice on her behalf. A warm wave of gratitude surged within her, overwhelming her senses. Song Caiju parted her lips, wishing to express her thoughts, yet found herself at a loss for words. "Thank you." All the sentiments she wished to convey condensed into that simple phrase. Jiang Yuan gently caressed her face, a fleeting pang of regret flickering through his heart. If only her eyes could be restored to their former brilliance, allowing her to gaze upon the world once more, her beauty would undoubtedly rival that of any woman of renown. As for the surgical procedure to restore her sight, Jiang Yuan could only reach out to a few physicians for potential solutions. The esteemed doctors he knew, being luminaries in the medical field, undoubtedly possessed valuable connections, perhaps even acquaintances engaged in ocular research. As Song Caiju served as Jiang Yuan's personal secretary, she was akin to family. With those close to him, Jiang Yuan was always generous, eager to seek resources for her recovery. Moreover, he felt a particular tenderness for a girl like her, reminiscent of a Venus with severed limbs. He was not a cad. Rather, his heart had shattered into myriad pieces, each fragment transformed into an appreciation for different women. Knock, knock. The door to Jiang Yuan's bedroom was gently rapped once more. "You may leave now, and follow my previous instructions," Jiang Yuan instructed. With eyes full of gratitude and amidst a flurry of thanks, Song Kaiju exited the room. In her stead, Sun Yunj entered, casting a curious glance at Jiang Yuan, attempting to glean any hint of what had transpired. This fellow, he didn't do anything untoward to that blind girl, did he? Jiang Yuan found her scrutiny both amusing and exasperating. What are you doing? Why are you looking at me like I'm a wolf? He remarked, raising his hands in mock surrender. A wolf is not as frightening as you, Sun Yunj retorted. Wolves devour rabbits and spit out bones. Jiang Yuan rolled his eyes, chuckling softly. Am I not capable of spitting out bones? Sun Yunj huffed softly, turning her head away. Jiang Yuan resorted to his secret technique, affectionately ruffling her hair. This tactic had proven effective time and again. However, despite the inner delight it brought her, Sun Yunj maintained an exterior of feigned displeasure. Jiang Yuan, we agreed that you would be my temporary boyfriend, she reminded him. You mustn't engage in any mischief behind my back, understood? Temporary boyfriend, Jiang Yuan echoed, unable to suppress a bemused expression. Such phrasing could easily lead to misunderstandings. Naturally, he replied with a smile. But about that incident from years ago, you ought to enlighten me now. Sun Yunj grinned mischievously, saying, I can tell you, but first you must close your eyes. Jiang Yuan complied. Soon, he felt a gentle breeze and a soft peck on his lips. All right, you may open your eyes now, Sun Yunj said, her cheeks flushed. Jiang Yuan opened his eyes and touched his lips, reflecting on the significant sacrifices he had made. However, in pursuit of his goals, such small sacrifices seemed worthwhile. May I speak now? Jiang Yuan smiled. Sun Yunj gently nodded, and then began to share the information she possessed. Her first statement was nothing short of astonishing. The group was not targeting Yi Jingshan, but rather her daughter, Yi Ran, who bore an extraordinary lineage. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan's brows furrowed deeply. Chapter 263. The capable individual. Jiang Yuan raised his eyebrows, sensing that the situation was rather complex. The matter had taken a convoluted turn, and the ultimate truth unexpectedly related to Yi Ran's true identity. What was her actual lineage? If she was not her mother's biological child, why did her mother insist that she was? Could it be that a significant event had transpired in the past, compelling Yi Ran's mother to conceal the truth at great personal cost, deceiving everyone? Jiang Yuan speculated. Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's conjecture, a fleeting look of admiration flashed in Sun Yunj's eyes. Although Jiang Yuan's deductions were not entirely accurate, they were indeed close to the truth. Sun Yunj elaborated. Yi Ran's real parents hold considerable influence. Even our intelligence network has been unable to uncover any information about them, only knowing that their details are shrouded in the highest level of secrecy. There were indeed events that transpired back then, with the Zhang family also involved. We possess only fragments of information, but one thing is certain. Yi Ran is perceived as a threat in their eyes, regarded as a thorn in their side. Jiang Yuan furrowed his brow, sensing the increasing peculiarity of the situation. The intricate nature of this affair suggested that even Sun Yunj might not be privy to the entire truth. Or perhaps the Sun family possessed crucial information that they would not share with him. After all, this matter was of significant consequence and should not be disclosed lightly. Sun Yunj's willingness to confide in him and provide a channel for information likely entailed severe repercussions. If her family were to discover this, she would undoubtedly face reprimand. Jiang Yuan's gaze flickered as he inquired, Is there any way to investigate this matter thoroughly? Sun Yunj nodded. I know of a capable individual living incognito in the capital. She may possess the information you seek. However, she has a peculiar temperament, and you will need to engage with her directly. Jiang Yuan acknowledged her words and obtained the address and contact number of this so-called capable individual from Sun Yunj. Given that this matter pertained to Yi Ran's life, he feared that if he did not take action, she might face grave peril. It was imperative to uncover information and investigate the truth behind the events of the past, including Yi Ran's true identity. Regarding Yi Ran, I understand your concern for her, so I have already arranged for some individuals to protect her discreetly. Do not worry, Sun Yunj said with a considerate smile. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan looked at her with a hint of surprise. He had not anticipated that this little jealous one would be so thoughtful. Gently wrapping his arm around her slender waist, Jiang Yuan chuckled. You are quite considerate. Sun Yunj playfully stuck out her tongue, her face beaming with a smile. If I weren't afraid that you'd be upset if something happened to her, I would actually wish for her to encounter some trouble. This statement revealed her innermost thoughts. A woman's jealousy can be formidable. However, what Sun Yunj truly hoped to avoid was Jiang Yuan's sorrow. Touched, Jiang Yuan embraced her and leaned closer to whisper, Tell me more about that capable individual. Sun Yunj gently murmured into Jiang Yuan's ear, sharing insights about that person's character, preferences, and general circumstances. Jiang Yuan silently took note of each detail. Once he located this individual and gleaned the complete truth about Yi Ran from her, the reality would undoubtedly be illuminated, allowing him to take decisive action. Chapter 264. Strategy. Jiang Yuan briefly briefed Song Kaiju on some subsequent matters, including how to handle certain individuals, before hastily boarding a private jet. He was set on a quest to locate the remarkable person referenced by Sun Yunj. As long as he could extract information from this individual, the truth behind the events concerning Iran would undoubtedly be unveiled. Meanwhile, Peter and Chun Yin indulge in a bout of drifting before casually seeking out a restaurant to savor delightful culinary offerings. The pair intended to finish their meal and then seek an audience with the owner of Paradise Island. However, they were suddenly taken aback by a resounding sonic boom above their heads. A private Airbus soared directly overhead, disappearing into the vastness of the unknown sky. Peter's mouth quivered in shock, and he inadvertently spat out the signature fried rice he had been savoring, exclaiming, "That's an Airbus, a tremendously expensive private jet." He was no ordinary affluent heir. He had thoroughly researched such upper-class luxuries to better navigate the social circles. He was acutely aware of the rarity and exorbitance of this private aircraft. Though he did not know the identity of its owner, he was profoundly astonished. Chun Yinyan, upon hearing his words, trembled in response. If even someone like Peter, a wealthy scion, was so impressed, then this private jet must indeed be of considerable value. It could only be the handiwork of the Paradise Island's owner. Chun Yinyan swallowed hard, her curiosity about the identity of this owner intensifying. Regrettably, they had missed the opportunity to meet this person. A true loss. Contemplating this, the food in her mouth lost its appeal. As the roar of the private Airbus echoed, all the guests on the island cast astonished glances in its direction. Was she mistaken? That was indeed the limited edition Airbus. Such opulence suggested that the owner of Paradise Island might belong to one of the prominent families of the capital. It was highly probable. One could only ponder where this luxurious jet was headed, leaving behind this splendid Paradise Island unappreciated. Song Kaiyun watched the private jet carrying Jiang Yuan depart, feeling an ineffable sense of reluctance. Following Jiang Yuan's instructions, she had already provided relevant individuals with information. She believed that in due time, justice would surely be served. All of this was due to Jiang Yuan's kindness, for which she felt immense gratitude. The warmth of his presence lingered in her ears, as if still vividly audible. Would they meet again? Song Kaiju murmured. On board the private jet, Jiang Yuan reclined comfortably in a luxurious leather seat, holding a tablet filled with the currently known information. Age, 23. Name, unknown. Hobbies, culinary delights, essentially a true gourmand. Jiang Yuan glanced at the dossier provided by Sun Yunj, finding it both amusing and perplexing. This resembled not a personal profile, but rather a strategy guide that a friend might craft for a girl he fancied back in school. The above passage meticulously chronicles the character and preferences of a young woman, alongside numerous details of her daily life. According to Sun Yunji, this individual's origins are extraordinary, and even her name remains undisclosed. Only these habits have been gleaned indirectly from those who have previously interacted with her. Given that this matter pertains to Yi Ran's life, Jiang Yuan naturally spared no effort, meticulously organizing this information. Chapter 265. The name of Jiang Yuan. Resonating like thunder upon perusing the materials, Jiang Yuan felt a burgeoning understanding within him. His eyelids gently descended as he took a moment to collect his thoughts. Time slipped by unnoticed until the plane finally arrived at its destination. They had landed in a secluded forest on the outskirts of the capital, where the dense foliage rendered the air remarkably invigorating. As Jiang Yuan disembarked, a wave of tranquility washed over him, with a vista of delightful hues greeting his eyes. Azure skies, fluffy white clouds, and verdant mountains. It was no wonder that someone would choose to reside in such a serene locale. The environment was simply too pleasant to ignore, and he couldn't help but express his admiration. It is well known that the smog in large cities is quite severe, and the pressures of urban life can be suffocating. Yet here, amidst the trees, Jiang Yuan experienced a long-lost sense of ease and relaxation, a soothing tranquility that touched his very soul. Were it not for pressing matters, he would have relished the opportunity to wander freely amidst nature for an entire day. His intended destination lay approximately 2 kilometers away, in a resplendent platinum villa. Even from a considerable distance, he could discern the villa's remarkable stature. undoubtedly surpassing any other structure he had previously encountered. However, to his surprise, as soon as his feet touched the ground, a high school girl of approximately 16 years approached him. "Hello, Mr. Jiang Yuan," she greeted, clad in a stylish JK uniform, her smile radiating sweetness. "You know me?" Jiang Yuan was taken aback. He hadn't informed anyone of his arrival, yet she seemed to have been waiting for him with keen anticipation. Reflecting on the extensive information network that Sun Yunj had mentioned, Jiang Yuan attributed her knowledge to some unique means at her disposal. The JK girl giggled, covering her mouth with her hand. Her youthful visage bore a charming innocence, yet her eyes sparkled like two brilliant gems, illuminating the surroundings with her laughter. "Mr. Jiang Yuan, your reputation has indeed spread far and wide, resonating like thunder. If anyone remains unaware of your name, they must simply be ignorant souls," she remarked with a light smile. "Is that so? Pray, enlighten me on what deeds of mine have garnered such renown," Jiang Yuan replied, amused by the girl's mature demeanor despite her tender age. "Regarding your affairs, I would not dare to speak too freely, let alone offer commentary. However, your audacity in confronting Tang Long, the head of the Tang family, and compelling him to retract his words has left me in profound admiration." The JK girl's tone carried a note of reverence, even bordering on worship. Tang Long was no ordinary figure. He was one of the long-standing titans of the capital, a man who had wielded influence with an imperious gaze for many years. Even those of considerable pedigree and status would quail before him, akin to a mouse being confronted by a cat, trembling and submissive. Tang Long was notoriously known for his narrow-minded temperament. It is rumored that when he first assumed control of the Tang family, he orchestrated a sweeping purge, ruthlessly eliminating those from opposing factions with ruthless precision. Yet, it is this very individual who received a profound lesson from Jiang Yuan. Rather than attributing Tang Long's shortcomings to age, it would be more accurate to say that Jiang Yuan displayed an audacity that cannot be overlooked, proving to be a formidable character in her own right. Observing her demeanor, Jiang Yuan indeed exhibited a hint of the infatuation often seen in devoted admirers. He shook his head and said, "Take me to meet that person. I know it was she who instructed you to wait here." Chapter 266, The Subtle Riddle Mister. Jiang Yuan is indeed exceedingly clever. The JK girl smiled gently, but she advised him to ponder deeply. Sometimes, possessing too much knowledge can be detrimental. Her smile gradually faded, and her expression grew earnest. Many questions remain unanswered, not due to a lack of intelligence among individuals, but rather because the wise recognize which inquiries ought to remain unresolved. Jiang Yuan gazed quietly into her eyes, which shimmered like autumn waters. Though youthful, they radiated an undeniable spirit, imbued with sincerity. That gaze conveyed a warning. Were it not for Yi Ran's involvement, Jiang Yuan might have relinquished his pursuit of the truth long ago. From the fragments of conversation and evasive glances of Sun Yunj, he had already surmised that a multitude of individuals and organizations were entangled in this affair. Even the Sun family, one of the four prominent families of the capital, strived to dissociate themselves, unwilling to become embroiled. In that moment, even this unfamiliar girl felt compelled to caution him. After a brief silence, Jiang Yuan spoke. "Every question has an answer. Lead me forth." The JK girl beamed, her smile tinged with admiration and respect, recognizing Jiang Yuan's courage and resolve, and she chose not to say more. She gracefully led the way, while Jiang Yuan followed closely beside her. Though she was in the bloom of youth, her demeanor bore the wisdom of someone who had savored the complexities of life. After about 10 minutes of walking, they arrived at the entrance of the Platinum Villa. However, upon arrival, Jiang Yuan discovered that dozens of people were already gathered there, seemingly sharing the same purpose as himself, seeking an audience with the villa's owner to inquire about certain matters. "I can pay any fee. Please let me in first. I am the secretary of the Tianling board, and I urgently need to meet her. Allow me to enter first. We all have appointments, regardless of your identities. You must wait your turn." Among this crowd, many were acquaintances of Jiang Yuan, having met at the centennial celebration of the Tang family. Yet, given the overwhelming number of people present, it was evident that only a select few would be granted an audience, with slots exceedingly limited. Jiang Yuan furrowed his brow slightly, pondering whether today would bring unexpected complications. The JK girl leaned closer to Jiang Yuan and whispered, "It seems my master's appointments are fully booked, Mr. Jiang. You may not meet her today. Tell me, how can I see her?" Jiang Yuan looked directly at her. The JK girl playfully smiled and replied, "Our master instructed me to convey a message. Still here? Feeling spirited, are we?" Jiang Yuan's brow furrowed for a moment, but then relaxed as he discerned the meaning behind her words. He gazed along the perimeter of the villa and, indeed, spotted another girl clad in JK attire awaiting him. As for the individual beside him, they covered their mouth and chuckled softly, applauding Jiang Yuan's wit before departing. Jiang Yuan felt a twinge of helplessness within. The person's temperament was indeed consistent with the descriptions found in the records, somewhat playful and immature. Still lingering, were they reveling in the moment? This phrase was a simple riddle. When the character for word was disassembled, removing not and adding strength naturally formed the character for border, clearly suggesting that he should observe along the periphery. Chapter 267. The chess game. Upon deciphering the riddle, Jiang Yuan hastened his steps towards the next JK girl. They resembled markers meticulously placed along a route, their attire and postures strikingly similar, perhaps guiding him to the ultimate destination, namely that woman. A premonition stirred within Jiang Yuan. With this riddle as a precursor, it was conceivable that further perplexing challenges awaited him. Previously, while perusing the private interests of one individual, it was noted that she delighted in assessing others. This moment served as a validation of that assertion. As Jiang Yuan approached, he discovered several Go boards quietly arranged nearby, each displaying an identical endgame scenario. The position revealed that the white stones were cornered by black, each move from the latter dripping with tactical precision and despair, indicating an unfathomable level of skill. Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow. It seemed this was the second trial, solving the Go endgame. In addition to himself, several young men had already arrived, their brows furrowed in intense contemplation of the game. Beads of sweat adorned their foreheads, and blood vessels were visibly strained in their eyes, suggesting they were entrenched in high-speed cognitive processing. Regrettably, despite their numerous attempts to make a move, they ultimately sighed in resignation, their faces reflecting defeat. Jiang Yuan was unsurprised by their presence. After all, the preceding trial was merely a simple riddle, and many could have unraveled it. However, at this juncture, those capable of deciphering the chess position were as rare as phoenix feathers. How on earth could this game be resolved? I specifically brought along 3 national Go champions, yet even they found themselves at a loss. This is exceedingly difficult, an apparent trial of our resolve. That individual is of utmost importance. We must meet her. Listening to their discourse, Jiang Yuan's gaze sharpened. Even the Go champions were stumped. He turned his attention to the endgame, beginning to ponder its intricacies. Meanwhile, another JK girl approached him, presenting a steaming cup of fragrant tea with reverence. "Mr. Jiang, please enjoy," she smiled. Jiang Yuan accepted the tea leisurely, taking a gentle sip to soothe his throat. Not far off, the men whispered in astonishment. "That man over there is the renowned Go champion Sun Yufan. It is said he was invited at a staggering expense by his sponsor. He is quite likely to unravel the game." The prowess of the other 2 champions was also formidable. It remained uncertain how many would ultimately pass this challenge. Jiang Yuan, absorbing their remarks, felt a stir of thought. He retrieved his phone and dialed Tang Xinshin. "Who is it?" "It's me." "Jiang Yuan, what do you need?" Upon recognizing his voice, Miss Tang's tone brightened. "Help me connect with a few adept Go players to solve an endgame." "Sure, send it to me." Jiang Yuan took a photograph and promptly sent it to Tang Xinshin. With the connections of the Tang family, it is hardly a challenge to contact several formidable Go masters. However, after a little over 10 minutes, Jiang Yuan received a reply from Tang Xinshin, laced with a hint of apology. "Jiang Yuan, this game is exceedingly difficult. They are unable to unravel it." Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan felt no surprise. Instead, he quietly sought a secluded spot and activated the system. Chapter 268. Professional team. However, Jiang Yuan surveyed his surroundings and found nothing useful within the system. A thought crossed his mind as he recalled the formidable team of computer experts he had under his command. During the recent calamity that befell Yuanmei Corporation, he had seized the opportunity to recruit this exceptionally talented group as his subordinates. Today, they might prove invaluable. Jiang Yuan's thoughts began to stir as he reminisced about past events. Perhaps he could employ a simulated program to unravel this deadlock in the game of Go. It was worth a try, he mused. In his childhood, he had often stealthily borrowed his parents' mobile phone to challenge the elderly men who set up Go boards in the park. Many of these older gentlemen, with little else to occupy their time, had become increasingly engrossed in the game, and some even set up challenges for passersby, offering a prize for those who could defeat them. Young Jiang Yuan was quite tempted by these rewards. On one occasion, while playing with his parents' phone, he had a brilliant idea. He downloaded a single-player Go game and set its difficulty to the highest, hellish mode. Subsequently, while competing with the elderly Go players, he discreetly entered their moves into the game. Essentially, it was akin to having an AI play on his behalf. Although the AI was not particularly formidable, it could occasionally secure victories, and young Jiang Yuan had managed to win a few prizes with this mischievous tactic. Nevertheless, the rudimentary AI was relatively simple to create, cost-effective, and its effectiveness was quite limited. To resolve the current deadlock, it would likely require a substantial financial investment to develop cutting-edge artificial intelligence neural technology, coupled with extensive sample training. However, money was not a concern for Jiang Yuan. He dialed the number etched in his memory, reaching out to his team of computer experts, and shared his thoughts. To program an advanced artificial intelligence Go AI, the request was not particularly challenging, yet it necessitated significant funding. As for the time frame, it would take approximately 6 hours. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan's eyebrows furrowed. He was pressed for time and could not afford to wait 6 hours. If I double the funding, how much time can you save? He inquired. Doubling it would reduce the time to about 5 hours. And if I were to multiply it tenfold, that could bring it down to around 3 hours. What if I were to multiply it 200 times? I need results within an hour. Is that feasible? 200 times. That might be possible, but I will do everything in my power to complete the task. The response left the other party astonished, their jaw practically dropping at the audacity of such financial leverage. Jiang Yuan finished his conversation and promptly hung up. In many instances, time equates to money, and indeed, money can be used to purchase time. After waiting for approximately an hour, Jiang Yuan found himself in a state of ennui. At that moment, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen and saw it was a call from his mother. "Mom, what is the matter?" he inquired. "Oh, nothing much. I just wanted to hear your voice," she replied. "Is everything comfortable at home?" he asked. "It's all right, though the ventilation is somewhat poor. It feels a bit stuffy," she responded. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow, promptly dialed another number, and instructed his subordinate to head to Qinghai County. Chapter 269. The astonishment of Jiang Yuan's mother initially. Jiang Yuan's mother merely felt a twinge of longing for her son and casually dialed his number to engage in conversation. It is natural for a mother and son to occasionally express grievances and share their discontent with life. She intended to mention that the ventilation in their home was somewhat inadequate and that she planned to tidy up over the weekend. However, Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow and promptly connected with Manager Wang of the Nanqing Four Seasons Hotel. Manager Wang, a middle-aged man who had succumbed to the comforts of life, was in the midst of an internal meeting, vociferously reprimanding his newly appointed employees. "You are utterly useless. You can't even manage the hygiene of the crab pot. And I've received multiple complaints from customers. What purpose do I have in employing you lot? Why not just keep a few dogs instead?" The three new employees trembled with trepidation, akin to lambs cornered by wolves. They were both frightened and bewildered, too intimidated to retort, silently hoping that Manager Wang would eventually calm down. Just as Manager Wang was becoming increasingly animated in his tirade, his phone rang unexpectedly. Initially unfazed, he intended to answer the call quickly and resume his scolding of the careless young staff. However, upon glancing at the caller ID, his face quivered with surprise, and he swiftly suppressed his ire. With a radiant, sunny smile, he answered the call. "Hello, Boss Jiang, this is Xiao Wang. How may I assist you?" Understood. "Please, go ahead," he continued, his voice dripping with deference and flattery, assuring the caller that he would handle everything with utmost diligence. Observing this transformation, the three young employees widened their eyes in disbelief. How could the ferocious manager, Wang, suddenly adopt such a demeanor? Who was on the other end of the line? Once the call concluded, Manager Wang hastily grabbed his car keys and dashed out the door, leaving the three newcomers exchanging bewildered glances, their faces a canvas of confusion. Meanwhile, Manager Wang's mind was racing with urgency. Jiang Yuan himself had reached out to him with instructions, and he dared not falter. He quickly hopped into his luxury vehicle and sped off towards Qinghai County. After finishing her conversation with her son, Jiang Yuan's mother felt content and prepared to start her cleaning. Yet, just as she was about to begin, the doorbell rang. Upon opening the door, she was greeted by a plump middle-aged man, panting heavily and drenched in sweat. "Who are you?" she inquired, her expression one of perplexity. Manager Wang straightened his posture, bowed at a 90-degree angle, and adopted an exceedingly humble demeanor. His stance was remarkably proper, reminiscent of a well-versed steward. "Good day. You may call me Xiao Wang. I am here at the behest of Boss Jiang. He has arranged everything for you, and I kindly request that you accompany me." Jiang Yuan's mother gazed at Manager Wang in surprise, unable to fathom that her son Jiang Yuan had sent him. What could have prompted Jiang Yuan to suddenly summon this rotund man? "Boss Jiang has prepared a new house for you, located in the southern city. Please accompany me to take a look Manager Wang said with a sycophantic smile. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan's mother nearly stumbled in disbelief. She had merely mentioned over the phone that the current house lacked adequate ventilation, and yet Jiang Yuan had arranged for someone to procure a new residence for her. Surely, this must be a jest, she thought, feeling both astonished and bewildered. Chapter 270. The humble little King Jiang Yuan's mother gazed incredulously at Manager Wang, almost convinced this was an elaborate April Fool's joke. Yet, the expression and demeanor of Manager Wang betrayed no hint of jest. Accustomed to a life of comfort, Manager Wang weighed nearly 300 pounds, his rotund figure unmistakable. However, his countenance bore no trace of laxity. It was a visage marked solely by reverence. Please accompany me. This is the directive from Chairman Jiang, who wishes for you to enjoy a suitable living environment, Manager Wang implored earnestly. He emphasized that adequate ventilation was crucial for one's health, a matter that warranted utmost seriousness. Your son is exceptionally filial, having procured a residence specifically designed for the health of middle-aged and elderly individuals. You must not disregard his heartfelt intentions. Though Manager Wang lacked any profound knowledge of medical matters, he spoke eloquently, weaving together a tapestry of medical reasoning to fulfill Jiang Yuan's task. In his eyes, this mission was akin to a decree inscribed upon a royal edict, a command that must be executed with the highest degree of fidelity. He pleaded tirelessly, even prepared to forego his dignity, willing to offer his knee if it would not startle Jiang Yuan's mother. Fortunately, she gradually regained her composure, recalling that Manager Wang had indeed attended the ancestral worship ceremony, thus lowering her guard. Accepting Jiang Yuan's arrangement, she entered Manager Wang's vehicle, embarking towards the southern city. Upon taking her seat in the back, Jiang Yuan's mother was enveloped by an unparalleled sense of comfort. This was a luxury car unlike any she had ever experienced. The seat appeared to be meticulously crafted with advanced ergonomic design and exceptional materials. Unlike ordinary fabric seats that are both cheap and prone to staining, or even leather seats that lack breathability, the seat she occupied was made of an unknown yet exquisite material that felt remarkably unique to her touch, breathable, lightweight, and of a quality that rivaled genuine leather. Noticing her curiosity, Manager Wang chuckled. You needn't be curious. This is made from cutting-edge Alcantara material, widely used in many luxury products. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan's mother immediately withdrew her hand, placing it demurely upon her lap. The implication of the material's expense made her hesitant to risk damaging it. Please, do not feel constrained. Feel free to enjoy it. If you find the seat to your liking, I can arrange for several to be delivered to your home, Manager Wang said, keenly seizing every opportunity to flatter Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan's mother shot him a surprised glance, but refrained from further comment. After approximately half an hour, the vehicle arrived at an upscale villa community. As she alighted, she looked at Manager Wang with curiosity, inquiring, "Which house has he prepared for me?" Manager Wang smiled modestly, adopting a humble gesture of invitation, and stated, "Director Jiang has acquired the entire villa district. As long as you are in good spirits, you may select any villa for your residence. I'm always at your service to provide any assistance you may require." Upon hearing these words, Jiang Yuan's mother felt her heart skip a beat. It dawned on her that what her son had purchased for her was not merely a single apartment, but an entire villa area. Chapter 271. Breaking the deadlock. Just as Jiang Yuan's mother was taken aback by the unexpected news, gazing at the dazzling array of bright houses with disbelief, Jiang Yuan stood with his arms crossed, exuding an air of assured victory. His eyes, sharp as a hawk's, scanned the chessboard before he strode forward, reaching the edge of the board, where he began to manipulate the pieces. In his right hand, he held a mobile phone, displaying a complete solution to the intricate chess problem. This solution had just been transmitted by his subordinates. The unnamed AI had undergone countless neural simulations, resulting in one of the possible answers. This sensation bore a resemblance to Doctor Strange's quest in Avengers: Infinity War, where he discerned the singular path to victory from over 14 million possibilities, Jiang Yuan mused. However, the training that yielded this solution had indeed cost a fortune. The immense computational power required for neural training, coupled with the extensive training materials, represented a significant financial burden. Jiang Yuan felt as though a path was gradually becoming clearer, illuminating his mind with newfound clarity. Could it be that the person posing this challenge intended not to assess mere chess skills, but rather to convey a message? Only those possessing genuine strength, be it financial prowess, intellectual acumen, or other exceptional abilities, were deemed worthy of an audience with her. If this were indeed the case, then the individual's perspective and character were undeniably elevated. The underlying implications were evident. All roads lead to Rome, provided one possesses the qualifications to traverse any of those paths. Otherwise, all discussion is mere folly. Yet, Jiang Yuan did not dwell on these thoughts for long. Sometimes the essence lies in accomplishing the task at hand, rather than pondering who achieved it or how it was done. His sole desire was to uncover the truth about Yi Ran, relegating all other matters to the periphery. With his index and middle fingers deftly maneuvering the pieces, he approached the chessboard with the finesse of a grandmaster, resolutely transforming the seemingly unsolvable deadlock. Gradually, those around him began to take notice of Jiang Yuan's remarkable situation, their expressions morphing into astonishment. Was this not the same Jiang Yuan who had recently made a striking impression at Tang's birthday celebration? A young man capable of unraveling a deadlock that even seasoned masters could not? Jiang Yuan paid them no heed, remaining wholly absorbed in the game. After approximately 10 minutes, amidst the collective astonishment of onlookers, the deadlock was decisively broken by Jiang Yuan's extraordinary skill. Waves of admiration rippled through the crowd as he, enveloped by their awe and focused gazes, strode confidently into the pristine white villa. A slight furrow in his brow revealed that he felt he had already invested considerable time, and his patience with the owner's arrogance was nearing its limit. If there are still some vexing challenges ahead, then Jiang Yuan will not unravel them like an obedient child. He has never been one to exhibit a gentle temperament. Fortunately, upon entering the Bai Jing villa, Jiang Yuan navigated with unexpected ease, progressing smoothly without hindrance, and soon found himself in the reception room designated for guests. Chapter 272. Who is she in the reception room of the Bai Jing villa? Jiang Yuan took a deep breath, having waited so long for a resolution to this matter. Once he met the person in question, he could directly inquire about the circumstances surrounding Yi Ran. What is the truth, really? Jiang Yuan's eyelids fluttered slightly. After a brief moment of anticipation, a gentle knock resonated at the door of the reception room. A slight tension gripped Jiang Yuan's heart. He knew that the individual had arrived. "Please come in," Jiang Yuan said calmly. The door opened softly, revealing a young woman with fair skin, round-framed glasses, and a curvaceous figure. She appeared to be in her early 20s, slightly younger than Jiang Yuan. Her gaze as clear as that of a deer lost in the forest. An aura of subtle nobility surrounded her, which might go unnoticed by an ordinary person, but Jiang Yuan, having broadened his horizons in recent days, felt a distinct air of unutterable elegance. Jiang Yuan recognized that this was the person he had come to find. He was about to pose his questions, but to his surprise, upon seeing him, the young woman gasped, her entire being momentarily jolted by astonishment. "Jiang, is it really you?" she exclaimed, her voice laced with disbelief. Hearing her words and witnessing her reaction left Jiang Yuan slightly bewildered. "Who is this person? Do I know her? You don't remember me?" she asked, noticing his confusion, her eyes narrowing with a hint of reproach. To be honest, Jiang Yuan had no recollection of this woman. His memory was not poor, although he had not reached a level of perfect recall. He was certainly not the type to forget acquaintances unless they had met only once and an inordinate amount of time had passed. Jiang Yuan's lips moved slightly. True to his nature, he considered stating outright that he did not recognize her. However, since he required her assistance during this visit, it would be discourteous to be so blunt. The young woman's expression, upon realizing his hesitation, became shrouded in a thin veil of frost. "Let's discuss the matter at hand. Mr. Jiang, your journey here is indeed a distinguished honor," she remarked, her tone measured. Jiang Yuan managed a smile, responding with, "You're too kind." Internally, he felt a twinge of embarrassment. It seemed that the young woman was somewhat irked by his inability to recall her, as she had shifted from calling him Jiang Gu to Mr. Jiang, clearly indicating a growing distance between them. Then, who exactly is she? Jiang Yuan endeavored to recall once more, yet still found himself at a loss. The young woman's striking beauty and poise were remarkable. If they had met before, he should not have forgotten her so easily. It appeared she, too, was acting out of pique, deliberately refraining from introducing herself, diving straight into the business at hand. Even withholding her surname, seemingly hoping Jiang Yuan would remember her. She had a cup of tea brought to her, took a delicate sip, and with a gaze that seemed to drift, she inquired, "May I ask, Mr. Jiang, is your purpose in this journey the pursuit of an elusive truth, or merely to rescue someone?" Jiang Yuan is also a master of feigning ignorance, knowingly inquiring, what is the difference between the two? Deep down, he is acutely aware that if the sole intention were to rescue Yi Ran, he might not need to grasp the perilous truth. However, Once the truth is unveiled, it signifies that he can no longer easily extricate himself from the situation. Chapter 273. Jiang Yuan's acquisition plan. The enigmatic woman gazed deeply at Jiang Yuan and slowly remarked, "Mr. Jiang, the distinction between the two is akin to a mouse, lurking in the shadows when confronted by a fearsome tiger. It may find survival easier than a typical ferocious beast." Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow, taken aback by her insinuation that retreating into obscurity might be the wiser choice, a notion utterly contrary to his character. "That is not the way of Jiang," he declared resolutely. "If you wish to share the information with me, I am all ears. If not, I shall not impose. We can part ways here." He stood abruptly, a hint of impatience evident. His purpose for coming was to seek the truth, yet that did not imply he would allow himself to be at the mercy of others, bound and helpless. To liken himself to a mouse was utterly beneath him. As Jiang Yuan's anger flared, the mysterious woman exhibited a fleeting glimmer of panic in her eyes upon sensing his intent to leave. Nevertheless, her self-control was formidable, skillfully concealing any trace of her alarm. "Why be so hasty, Mr. Jiang?" She smiled, extending her hand to gesture for him to sit once more. Jiang Yuan, however, was unfazed. The metaphor of the lurking mouse had unsettled him deeply. The woman's eyes narrowed slightly, her tone taking on a hint of danger as she proposed, "How about this? If you can recall who I am, I shall impart the entire truth to you, without reservation. What do you say?" Upon hearing her words, Jiang Yuan hesitated, feeling a sense of bewilderment. Her tone suggested she was not attempting to deceive him. Indeed, she seemed to be someone he knew. Yet, he could not place her. He gradually forced himself to calm down, scrutinizing the woman before him. She possessed a round face, her skin as fair and smooth as the finest silk, evidently the result of years of meticulous care. The seemingly ordinary round-framed glasses she wore lent her a peculiar charm, and the languid expression that subtly graced her eyes was like a feather, teasing Jiang Yuan's curiosity. She was not a woman easily described as breathtaking like Tang Qinxin or Sun Yunch. Rather, she resembled a captivating work of art. Where have I encountered such a unique woman? Jiang Yuan pondered inwardly, noticing that he still failed to recognize her. The mysterious woman could not help but reveal a hint of a resigned smile, though she was unwilling to let their interaction stagnate. She produced a document from her side and handed it to Jiang Yuan. "This contains a list of companies related to Yi Yiran," she stated. "If you can target these firms, it might create a significant impact." Jiang Yuan accepted the document, furrowing his brow as he inquired, "How can I trust you? How do I know you are not merely seeking to exploit me to deal with these companies?" Upon hearing this, the enigmatic woman chuckled softly, removing her round-framed glasses. Her eyes, reminiscent of autumn waters, locked onto Jiang Yuan's with an intensity that felt electrifying. In that instant, a flash of recognition surged through him. He was certain he had encountered this woman before, and their connection was undoubtedly extraordinary. Grasping the list firmly, Jiang Yuan took a moment before retrieving his phone to call Manager Wang. "Please assist me in acquiring several companies. I've already sent you the list. Draft a budget report for me." Chapter 274. This matter is truly difficult to handle. Jiang Yuan, employing the same method, sent his acquisition requirements to several other subordinates. Manager Wang, with a beaming smile, was warmly showing Jiang Yuan's mother around the house. "Behold, this building features a marble hall adorned with columns and equipped with 2 open fireplaces. Through the windows, one can admire the blooming private garden and the golf course. Additionally, it includes a gym, a greenhouse, a temperature-controlled swimming pool, a sauna, among other amenities. Allow me a moment to guide you through each of these." Every key entrance of the house is fitted with a 4GS security system equipped with cameras and unbreakable double-glazed windows, ensuring your comprehensive safety. Though he is not a professional in real estate sales, Manager Wang, having reached his level, frequently engages with clients and communicates with superiors and subordinates, demonstrating considerable business acumen. His delivery of the pre-prepared property description was quite eloquent. Jiang Yuan's mother, listening attentively, found herself bewildered. Was it truly her son who had purchased such a splendid residence for her? Furthermore, according to Xiao Wang, there was more than one property. This seemed utterly absurd. Additionally, Xiao Wang's demeanor did not suggest any fabrication. As she touched the marble and then the luxurious fireplace, it felt undeniably real. She struggled to accept this extraordinary reality, remaining in a state of semi-daze. Jiang Yuan had previously shown at the ancestral worship ceremony, yet she had yet to inquire about the details. Little did she expect him to surprise her yet again in such a grand manner. While Manager Wang continued his enthusiastic presentation, his phone suddenly rang. He initially intended to dismiss the call, but sensing something, he glanced at the screen and felt a jolt of apprehension. "Excuse me, I must take this call," he said apologetically, bowing slightly. Jiang Yuan's mother nodded, indicating he could proceed. Finding a quiet corner, Manager Wang promptly answered Jiang Yuan's call. Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's request and viewing the list, he was immediately taken aback, his expression reflecting incredulity. "Chairman Jiang, do you truly intend to acquire these companies? These are well-known enterprises that have long graced the local wealth rankings, many of which have held the top spot for years. The difficulty of such acquisitions is considerable. This matter is indeed challenging." After hearing Jiang Yuan's demands, Manager Wang was drenched in a fine sheen of sweat, his back soaked through. He still had not articulated the full extent of his concerns. These companies have substantial backing, making them far from easy targets for acquisition. It was akin to a small green snake attempting to swallow a massive elephant, an almost unbelievable endeavor. However, on the other end of the line, Jiang Yuan's voice remained calm and assured. "Fear not. I will allocate and arrange some personnel for you. The specifics will be entrusted to you for handling and negotiation. I have faith in your abilities." Additional assistance? Manager Wang felt a tinge of embarrassment, yet found it inappropriate to express it openly. He decided to draft the budget report first, intending to report any difficulties to Jiang Yuan later. Meanwhile, a similar scene unfolded in various locations. In addition to Manager Wang, Jiang Yuan reached out to several other secretaries and trusted aides. He entrusted each of his reliable subordinates with the task of expediting the acquisition plan with utmost urgency. Chapter 275, Frenzied Acquisitions. With a single command from Jiang Yuan, an expansive acquisition campaign was set into motion. Han Cheng, the public relations manager of a publicly listed company, typically directed a team to draft press releases and formulate responses for unexpected scenarios. Despite being under 30, he ascended to his managerial position through an innate sensitivity to trends and an ever-present cunning. His enviable status came with numerous clandestine benefits, and his collection of luxury vehicles and opulent residences was already vast, surpassing that of many middle-aged individuals who had toiled for years. Yet at this moment, Han Cheng furrowed his brow, seemingly confronted with a perplexing dilemma. Rumors of a high-priced acquisition of their company had surfaced, and the higher-ups appeared to be handling the matter with utmost caution. Absurd. Their company was thriving, unlike other sunset industries. Why would they relinquish control so easily? "Investigate. I want to know who dares to propose acquiring our company." Han Cheng sensed an ominous undertone, as if danger lurked nearby. The audacity to openly declare an intention to purchase their company could only stem from either brazen lunatics or oblivious second-generation heirs. After all, the company's operational status was stable, and its financial health was robust, even described as having boundless prospects. What sane individual would dare consider acquiring their company? Yet, what troubled Han Cheng most was the board's indecision, wavering in their judgment. Was the offer truly exorbitant, or had some internal machinations been exposed? A sense of unease gnawed at him. Today was Thursday, a day he had designated for indulgence in sweet treats. Typically, he would visit the most luxurious Michelin-starred restaurant in the capital to relish decadent desserts, often accompanied by a few attractive recent graduates. The combination of fine cars and beautiful women was, without a doubt, a unique pleasure. However, due to this inexplicable predicament, he was reluctantly compelled to forego his indulgent plans. Han Cheng's thoughts were astute and sensitive, qualities that had enabled him to excel and surpass his peers at such a young age. He picked up the phone, contemplated for a moment, and resolved to contact a powerful ally. He had often cultivated this relationship with gestures of goodwill during holidays and celebrations, a bond that eclipsed ordinary acquaintances. However, just as he inputted the phone number, an incoming call interrupted him. Han Cheng Frulvnid. He recognized the caller as a colleague who had joined the company at the same time. Typically, colleagues who join the company in the same year and cohort tend to form close personal ties and exchange valuable information. However, when he answered the call, he was met with a hurried and rapid male voice, akin to a flurry of sharp arrows slicing through the wind. "Han Cheng, the situation is dire. A significant figure intends to acquire our company." Chapter 276, Jiang Yuan's investment. Jiang Yuan ignited a cigar, the flame dancing before him. This cigar was not the fragmented diamond variety gifted by another, but rather the one bestowed upon him by the enigmatic woman before him. He seldom indulged in smoking. Yet, for reasons unbeknownst to him, a tumultuous wave of emotions stirred within, compelling him to take a puff. The flavor was distinctly unique. Could you possibly enlighten me as to the type of cigar this is? Jiang Yuan inquired, astonishment flickering across his features. The taste held an almost ethereal quality, reminiscent of the essence of his first love, intertwined with the sweetness of imported delicacies from his childhood, and evoking the gentle savor of a sip from a piece of sandalwood. Although he lacked expertise in cigar brands, he could sense its extraordinary nature. Once you recall who I am, I shall reveal it to you, the mysterious woman replied with a smile. Jiang Yuan, feeling a tinge of awkwardness, took another puff of the cigar, perplexed by this woman whose identity eluded him. Why must she keep her identity shrouded in mystery rather than divulging it directly? Did this matter hold such significance for her? Though he had interacted with numerous women throughout his life, he remained, in essence, a straightforward man, often bewildered by the convolutions of a woman's heart. Some women possessed an inherent complexity, difficult to alter and challenging to comprehend. But why does she seem familiar to me? Yet I cannot recall her identity? Jiang Yuan pondered with suspicion. Did they share but a fleeting encounter, or were they once old acquaintances? The more he strained to remember, the more elusive the recollection became, as if he were ensnared in a vortex. After a moment of contemplation, he set the matter aside, casting a glance at the list that the woman had previously handed him. One name, in particular, leaped into focus: Jie Cheng-Rui New Energy Company. Isn't this the new energy firm of the Zhang family? Jiang Yuan exclaimed in surprise. As the adage goes, know yourself and your enemy, and you shall never be defeated. Aware of the inevitable conflicts with the Zhang family, Jiang Yuan had conducted some preliminary investigations into their background and recalled several of their subsidiary companies. Yet, acquiring such a company would prove to be a formidable challenge. After a moment of reflection, Jiang Yuan dialed a private number to contact a specialist at the patent office. Mr. Jiang, how may I assist you? Regarding our previous discussions, I would like to expedite the matter, he replied. This decision is beyond my authority. I can only report it. Please hold for a moment. Jiang Yuan patiently acknowledged and then placed another call. Secretary Song, please assist me in registering a company with a capital of 10 million. Certainly. May I inquire about the company name and its primary focus? Let it be called Rui Changjie, primarily engaged in new energy. Understood. The name Jiang Yuan chose for his newly established company was audacious, unmistakably a direct challenge to the Zhang family. Never before had anyone so brazenly crafted a company name in direct opposition to another with an identical operational focus, making it evident to any discerning observer that this was a declaration of war. The mysterious woman, observing Jiang Yuan's consecutive calls, couldn't help but chuckle softly. Jiang Yuan, have you encountered any trouble? Jiang Yuan glanced at her and replied nonchalantly, the one capable of causing me trouble has yet to be born. Approximately 2 minutes later, the patent office provided their response. We fully respect Jiang Yuan's personal wishes and are entirely willing to act in accordance with your desires. Chapter 277. A visit to the Tang family. Upon hearing the words, Jiang Yuan felt a sense of relief wash over him. The fact that the other party spoke in such a manner implied a willingness to offer complete assistance. However, the tone shifted as the individual continued. It may require a small favor from the Tang family, but I believe, given your close relationship with Miss Tang, this should not pose a challenge for you. Jiang Yuan's brow furrowed slightly. Why would he need assistance from the Tang family? The matter is that certain procedural approvals necessitate the involvement of relevant personnel, and the Tang family has considerable expertise in this area. Securing their support could greatly expedite the operational commencement of the company. Listening to the explanation, Jiang Yuan felt a twinge of helplessness. The capital harbored its own set of rules, quite distinct from those of the southern city. Presently, he was in direct opposition to the Zhang family, while the Sun and Lin families appeared to be fence-sitters. These two families would not extend their support to everyone, nor would they withhold it entirely. In truth, they would align themselves with whichever side seemed destined for victory. His relationship with the Tang family was particularly intriguing. Tang Long was evidently not fond of him, yet he had a cordial rapport with Tang Chenxin. I must strive to cultivate any potential allies and minimize my adversaries to solely the Zhang family, Jiang Yuan contemplated. If they choose to support the victor, I must showcase my strengths and create advantageous circumstances, thus seizing the initiative. In essence, my investment in the company must yield a substantial initial profit. After a moment's reflection, Jiang Yuan resolved to personally visit the Tang family. He aimed not only to solidify matters with Tang Long, but also to clarify his situation with Tang Chenxin. He made a phone call, and shortly thereafter, a private helicopter descended nearby, the sound of its whirring blades resonating through the air. Are you leaving? The enigmatic woman smiled slightly. Do you not wish to learn about Yi Ran? If you can commit my identity to memory, I shall gladly divulge everything I know, in full detail. Jiang Yuan replied calmly. I will return shortly, and I have a strong premonition that you will reveal your identity to me before long. In truth, he harbored some suspicions about her identity. However, if he were to gain Tang Long's assistance, it might validate his conjectures. The mysterious woman, upon hearing Jiang Yuan's words, involuntarily trembled. She turned her back, attempting to maintain her composure, yet her pupils began to quiver slightly, betraying a hint of unease. At that moment in the Tang family residence, Tang Long stood before a strikingly elegant young woman. Her gaze was gentle, reminiscent of a willowy tree swaying in the wind. Yet there was an underlying resilience within her demeanor. Even in her stillness, she exuded an air of unyielding spirit. Her name was Yang Yanfei, Tang Long's fiancée, who had yet to officially enter the family. Behind her, Tang Qinshin observed with a hint of discomfort in her expression. The young girl is merely 2 or 3 years older than her, yet she is the fiancée of her father, Tang Long. Tang Qinshin can't help but feel a twinge of complexity in her heart, yet she understands that she lacks the authority to impede her father's actions. Such is the nature of the world. Despite the absurdities that unfold incessantly, one finds themselves powerless to intervene. Chapter 278. Unveiling. Tang Qinshin's lips parted slightly, yet the words lingered on the tip of her tongue, difficult to articulate. She understood that the young girl was compelled by the harshness of life to marry her father. Still, confronted by her father's imposing presence, she found it challenging to voice her concerns. At that moment, a sharply dressed secretary in a black suit entered the room. He leaned in closely to Tang Long and whispered, Mr. Jiang has come alone to seek an audience. Will you see him? Which Mr. Jiang? The one from last time. Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan. He dares to come here. Tang Long's eyes narrowed, a glint of formidable intensity flashing within them. Previously, Jiang Yuan had leveraged the influence of several powerful individuals to strike some covert deals with him, coercing him into a position of betrayal. How audacious of him to return. And alone at that? Let him in. I wish to meet Mr. Jiang, Tang Long replied with an expressionless demeanor. Upon hearing that a guest was arriving, Yang Yanfei eagerly suggested, Since we have an esteemed visitor, I shall brew a pot of fine Hong Pao, a renowned tea from my homeland. Tang Long nodded silently, yet an inexplicable chill flickered in his eyes. Tang Qinshin shuddered slightly. Her father's gaze led her to surmise Jiang Yuan's true identity. It must indeed be Jiang Yuan. As expected, mere minutes later, Jiang Yuan strode in confidently, as if returning home, exuding an air of familiarity. Upon seeing him, Tang Qinshin felt a surge of warmth and yearned to rush into his embrace, longing to share her innermost feelings after their time apart. However, a glance at her father stifled her fervent desires. Tang Long's expression remained impassive as he remarked, Mr. Jiang, your arrival is unexpected. I wonder what brings you from afar. Jiang Yuan smiled, ready to respond, when a familiar figure caught his eye. The tea is ready. Yang Yanfei entered with a steaming teapot and froze upon spotting Jiang Yuan. It's you. What are you doing here? Jiang Yuan was taken aback. Yang Yanfei had attended the ancestral ceremony in Qinghe County, but had not returned for many years. They had crossed paths on a few occasions. Tang Long's gaze exuded authority as he coldly inquired, What a coincidence. You two know each other. Jiang Yuan replied with a smile. We have met a few times. Tang Long continued, How fortuitous. She is my betrothed fiancée. At this revelation, Jiang Yuan's expression shifted, internally chastising the audacity of this old man. To think he could lay claim to such a young girl as a father, and still have the gall to marry her. Yang Yanfei's countenance darkened, clearly struggling to process the implications. Tang Qinshin could no longer restrain herself, and exclaimed, It is evident that you are coercing her into marriage simply because you have provided financial assistance. She had endured this for a long time, but now, with Jiang Yuan present as her support, she could no longer hold back the truth. Tang Long's expression darkened as he coldly replied, Repeat that. Tang Qinshin's breath caught in her throat. Jiang Yuan stepped forward, positioning himself protectively in front of her. Chapter 279. A forceful confrontation as Miss Tang unveiled the truth. Tang Long's gaze pierced through her like 2 sharp daggers. Tang Qinshin felt a chill grip her heart, as if she were being scrutinized by a fierce and formidable lion, her knees nearly buckling beneath her. Fortunately, Jiang Yuan reacted with remarkable swiftness, stepping forward fearlessly, like an invincible god of war, shielding her firmly behind him. effectively blocking the piercing glare of Tang Long. Tang Chenxin felt a wave of relief wash over her, as if standing behind Jiang Yuan had erected a towering mountain before her, significantly enhancing her sense of security. Jiang Yuan turned his head and whispered softly in her ear, "Don't worry, I'm here." His words were gentle, and the proximity between them, coupled with the warmth radiating from his body, sent a comforting warmth into Tang Chenxin's ear. Being still young and inexperienced in matters of love, her interactions with boys were scarce, and faced with such a situation, her cheeks flushed. At the same time, she felt a warmth in her heart due to Jiang Yuan's courageous act, and she secretly grasped his large hand with gratitude. Had it been any other man, even the scions of the four prominent families, they would likely not have dared to meet Tang Long's gaze, let alone speak a word in his presence. Their demeanor reduced to timid acquiescence. Initially, she had been nearly overwhelmed by the authority of her father, her hands and feet icy with fear. Yet, upon holding Jiang Yuan's hand, it felt as though she had stepped into a warm house with a hearth after enduring 3 days in the frigid wilderness. Jiang Yuan felt a chill in his hand as a cold, slick little hand, still bearing traces of sweat, was enveloped by his warm grasp. How could her hand be so cold? It seemed Tang Long's formidable reputation indeed cast a long shadow. How shameless of him to forcefully pursue a young girl, only to be exposed by his own daughter, and still seek to assert his authority. Jiang Yuan scoffed inwardly. Nevertheless, there was an undeniable peculiarity to the situation. Simultaneously, a thread of doubt lingered in Jiang Yuan's mind. Logically, while Tang Chenxin was kind-hearted, it was perplexing that she would jeopardize her relationship with her father for the sake of a stranger, especially in such a confrontational manner. This was decidedly odd. The pairing of an older man with a younger woman was not uncommon in this world, particularly given that most wealth was held by middle-aged men, naturally attracting many young and beautiful women seeking to elevate their status. As the daughter of the Tang family, Tang Chenxin had grown up in such an environment and should have been psychologically prepared for such circumstances. Yet, her current state appeared decidedly abnormal. Jiang Yuan could distinctly sense her small hand tightening around his, revealing her internal struggle and dissatisfaction. Jiang Yuan was no fool. After a moment's contemplation, several hypotheses emerged in his mind, leading him to suspect that the underlying reasons were likely intertwined with Tang Chenxin's mother. Tang Chenxin had once mentioned a few things about her mother, yet whenever the conversation ventured into more specific matters, she chose to remain silent. Perhaps it was the fact that this young woman, compelled to marry Tang Long, was reminded of her own mother's experiences. Although the exact reasons eluded her, it was clear that since Tang Chenxin opposed this union and Yang Yinfei hailed from the same hometown, Jiang Yuan would not stand idly by. While his primary intention for this visit was to collaborate with Tang Long, it was ultimately imperative to demonstrate his own capabilities. This was not contradictory to his request. Often, the pursuit of collaboration does not rely on gentleness or humility, nor on the sacrifice of one's dignity. Instead, it demands the unabashed display of one's formidable strength and confidence to earn the respect and cooperation of others. After a moment of contemplation, Jiang Yuan lifted his gaze, his bright eyes locking onto Tang Long's. His eyes were clear and pure, in stark contrast to Tang Long's, which were dark and abyssal. The contrast between light and shadow was striking. Both men exuded an extraordinary presence, particularly Tang Long, who, feeling secure in his own domain, justified his choice to marry a trusted wife, believing Jiang Yuan had no grounds to interfere. Moreover, should Jiang Yuan dare to overstep, Tang Long would not yield an inch. After all, the last time, it was only because Jiang Yuan had summoned those notable figures that Tang Long had conceded even a fraction. This time, Tang Long was set to settle both old and new scores with Jiang Yuan, determined to reclaim his stature as the head of the Tang family. The atmosphere in the room was charged with tension, with one being his beloved and the other his father. Both were proud and self-assured individuals, unlikely to back down easily. It seemed that the day's events would not resolve amicably. Tang Chenxin felt her heart tighten, anxiety gripping her. Yet, as she thought of her mother, she was unwilling to remain a passive observer. Years ago, her mother had also been forced into marriage with Tang Long under familial pressure, becoming his third wife. To her dismay, Tang Long proved to be a man of little loyalty, quickly growing indifferent and seeking out a younger, more beautiful woman despite his pregnant wife. This young woman, possessing a heart as venomous as a snake, had mockingly belittled her mother, which led her to sign the divorce papers in a fit of anger. In the aftermath, Tang Long wielded his wealth and power to secure custody of Tang Chenxin. In her eyes, Yang Yinfei, now resembled her mother from those painful memories, both enduring unjust and tragic fates, marking the beginning of all her sorrows. Unable to contain herself any longer, she spoke out, as her deep-seated trust in Jiang Yuan gave her the courage to challenge the injustices before her. At the moment when the atmosphere between Jiang Yuan and Tang Long reached its zenith, Yang Yinfei, filled with trepidation, spoke up. Her voice was somewhat hoarse and tinged with helplessness, more so revealing a profound sorrow as if she had resigned herself to fate. She forced a smile and said, "You may have misunderstood. There is no need for such an uproar. In truth, I willingly choose to marry him." Jiang Yuan was someone she was acquainted with, a remarkable figure from her hometown. The events of the last ancestral worship conference had garnered considerable notoriety. Jiang Yuan's illustrious deeds were indeed a source of pride and widely recognized. Chapter 280. Confronting Tang Long, even Yang Yinfei, far away in the capital, had heard whispers of it. Whenever her acquaintances mentioned the name Jiang Yuan, it was evident that pride and a sense of honor illuminated their faces. During the ancestral worship gathering, all the influential figures of the South City congregated in the small Qinghe township, drawn there solely by the news of Jiang Yuan's attendance at this grand event. The ancestral worship ceremony had a tradition of attracting outsiders, particularly those of high status and wealth. Such an opportunity to flatter and ingratiate oneself was akin to scattering honey before an anthill, enticing a multitude of prominent individuals from the South City to assemble. Merely hearing Jiang Yuan's name sent many local heroes into a frenzy, each arriving with lavish gifts to pay their respects. This formidable influence was regarded as legendary, celebrated far and wide, and became a favorite topic of conversation over meals. It was a point of pride for the people of Qinghe Township. As Jiang Yuan's fellow townsman, Yang Yinfei harbored deep admiration and pride for him. However, despite the brilliance of these accomplishments, they were merely events occurring in the countryside of South City, and the circumstances here were markedly different. This was the capital, the pinnacle of wealth and power in the Dragon Kingdom. Even if Jiang Yuan could command the winds and rains in South City, his prowess might not suffice here. A player thriving in the Silver Bureau, wreaking havoc and chaos, could hardly expect to maintain such dominance in the realm of the elite. It was not a matter of scale. In the depths of her heart, Yang Yinfei recognized that although Jiang Yuan, as a proud figure from her hometown, had experienced fortuitous encounters, he remained too young to stand against the renowned Tang family in the capital. Even if he could, why would he risk offending the Tang family and confront Tang Long for the sake of an unfamiliar woman from his hometown? It was evident that Jiang Yuan was unlikely to offer her any assistance. She had resigned herself to her fate, viewing her impending marriage to Tang Long with a sense of desolation and acceptance. Upon hearing her words, Tang Long narrowed his fierce, tiger-like eyes, his pupils resembling an abyss as he smiled slightly. "Did you hear that, Qinshin? I know you've been feeling weary lately, but you mustn't speak of your father in such a manner before outsiders. It is rather impolite." Tang Long's voice was solemn, growing increasingly pointed as he directed his words at Tang Qinshin, his tone sharp as a blade. Jiang Yuan understood that if he mishandled the situation today, Tang Qinshin would likely face Tang Long's severe punishment after his departure. With this thought in mind, Jiang Yuan ceased to hold back. A faint smile graced his face as he spoke with composure. "Voluntary? That might just be the most amusing joke I've heard in years. When a boss coerces an employee into working overtime, the employee may still claim it's voluntary. But that's merely because their livelihood depends on the salary provided by the boss. When a mother-in-law pressures her son-in-law for an exorbitant bride price, and he professes it to be voluntary, it is simply because his lifelong happiness lies in her hands. Old Tang Long, at your advanced age, how can you force a young lady into marriage with you, and even demand that she claim it is of her own volition? Simply because the safety of her family rests in your hands, you engage in such shameless acts. Do you not feel a twinge of shame?" Jiang Yuan's remarks were logical and resonant, laced with sarcasm, blatantly aimed at striking Tang Long's pride. He unflinchingly laid bare the entire situation. Akin to exposing the emperor's new clothes, the underlying truths were known to all. Yet no one dared to speak them aloud due to Tang Long's formidable stature as one of the four great tyrants of the capital, a paragon of wealth and power. Even if one were to lend 100 bold hearts to ordinary folk, they would scarcely dare to question anything pertaining to Tang Long. Upon encountering him, they would either bow obsequiously or flatter him with sycophantic praise. Yet, Jiang Yuan audaciously revealed everything without hesitation. Upon hearing this, Tang Qinshin was momentarily taken aback. While she was aware of Jiang Yuan's notoriously fierce temperament and that he would undoubtedly seek to achieve a result, she never anticipated he would employ such a straightforward and direct approach, mockingly confronting Tang Long with an almost overwhelming demeanor. The incredibility of the situation left her ears doubting their own perception, questioning whether she was indeed hearing correctly or if her mind had faltered. This was Tang Long, after all, a member of one of the four prominent families of the capital. Even someone as bold as Jiang Yuan had previously relied on the influence of other significant figures to suppress Tang Long. Today, however, Jiang Yuan brazenly mocked Tang Long to his face. This was a provocation, a spark that could ignite a conflict. Yang Yanfei was equally stunned, her body trembling as she gazed at Jiang Yuan as if he were a monster. Was he courting death? How could he dare to ridicule Tang Long so openly, especially in front of Tang Long's daughter and fiancé? Had he lost his mind? Even Tang Long himself was momentarily taken aback, his expression shifting dramatically. An aura of chilling menace emanated from him as he spoke slowly, each word dripping with malice. It seems you are not here as a guest today. To his surprise, Jiang Yuan appeared unfazed, nodding as casually as if sharing a meal with a longtime friend. He replied, "Indeed, I am not here as a guest. What do you suppose I am here for?" Tang Long inhaled deeply, his countenance as frigid as deep ice, and coldly retorted, "You are here to seek death." Jiang Yuan laughed lightly and said, "A misunderstanding. In truth, I am here to discuss a collaboration." Collaboration? Tang Long was so enraged that he found it laughable. "Is this the attitude you adopt when discussing collaboration?" Jiang Yuan shrugged his shoulders and nodded knowingly. He then clapped his hands together. This visit to the Tang family was not undertaken without any forethought. He had meticulously arranged everything during his journey. Chapter 281. The Art of Earning, accompanied by the sound of applause from Jiang Yuan, a tall, slender young man, approximately 6 feet tall, entered the room. Despite his imposing stature and muscular physique, which resembled a coiling dragon, he moved with a surprising lightness, akin to a fish gliding through water. Most striking were his eyes. Upon closer inspection, it became evident that they possessed no focus, as he was, in fact, blind. Yet, even in the absence of sight, his ears were remarkably keen, and he seemed to possess an extraordinary ability to navigate, effortlessly positioning himself between Jiang Yuan and Tang Long, eventually standing beside Jiang Yuan in a supportive manner. Tang Chengxin, upon observing the peculiarities of this man, could not help but feel a sense of bewilderment. A figure so robust and muscular yet blind, coupled with an agility and perceptiveness that surpassed the ordinary. Could this individual be someone of significance? Tang Long, upon recognizing him, felt a jolt of realization. His extensive experience had granted him insights far beyond what Miss Tang could comprehend. "Lu Xiezi, how is it that you, Master Lu's secretary, have come to this place?" Master Lu, a renowned medical expert both domestically and internationally, held a position of extraordinary status, coveted by many. He possessed numerous advanced medical patents which, if acquired by Tang Long, could be transformed into a lucrative market, generating immense profits. What was this? A living, breathing money tree. In the eyes of the common folk, Master Lu was a sage, dedicated to alleviating suffering, but to countless opportunists, he represented an inexhaustible source of wealth. Even Tang Long had previously commissioned a thorough investigation to gather information about Master Lu, eager to explore potential collaboration for the sake of substantial profit. Unfortunately, Master Lu's eccentric and reclusive nature rendered him indifferent, even to Tang Long's extravagant offers, leaving him both regretful and helpless. The only piece of information Tang Long possessed was about Lu Xiezi, Master Lu's secretary. This man had served in the military abroad and sustained a life-altering injury on the battlefield, fortuitously saved by Master Lu, though his eyes were irreparably damaged. More tragically, Lu Xiezi hailed from a homeland that had been devastated by defeat, leaving him bereft of family. In gratitude for Master Lu's life-saving intervention, he chose to remain by his side, dedicating his life to serve as his aide and secretary. Master Lu was engrossed in his research, often elusive, and Lu Xiezi acted as his representative, managing the majority of mundane affairs. Despite Tang Long's relentless efforts and myriad strategies, the whereabouts and intentions of Lu Xiezi remained an enigma. To his surprise, Jiang Yuan had brought this individual today. Could it be that Jiang Yuan has some connection with Master Lu? Tang Long was filled with suspicion. Otherwise, how could Master Lu's personal secretary be so obedient to him? Tang Rong couldn't help but adjust her expression. If Master Lu were involved in this matter, even he would have to reconsider his attitude towards it. Although Tang Long held the esteemed position of the head of the Tang family, with status, power, and wealth of the highest order, he was perpetually under the watchful eyes of the other three prominent families. A single misstep could lead to total ruin. The weight of responsibility upon him was immense. As he was not alone, the entire Tang family relied on new ventures to contend with the other three families. Tang Long spoke solemnly. Who might this be? Lu Shiezi chuckled. I have come at Master Lu's behest to meet with you alongside Jiang Yuan to discuss the mass production of several heart disease medications. Upon hearing this, Tang Long was instantly taken aback, followed by a surge of elation. The Tang family owned numerous medical enterprises and research institutions, investing billions annually into healthcare research. However, the results have been disappointingly meager. Ideally, obtaining the assistance of a medical expert like Master Lu would be akin to finding oneself in a favorable current, significantly elevating their standing among the four families. Yet, why Jiang Yuan? What connection did he have with Master Lu? This thought seemed absurd to Tang Long. During the last celebration of the Tang family's longevity, with so many influential figures gathered, Tang Long could still believe they were there to support Jiang Yuan due to a powerful figure behind him. But if Master Lu were truly willing to relinquish his patents, it would undoubtedly indicate that Jiang Yuan possessed something extraordinarily unique. Although Tang Long did not grasp the specific reasons, he understood the prevailing circumstances were compelling. If he wished to rejuvenate the Tang family and lead them to the forefront among the four families, collaboration was imperative. Jiang Yuan, what exactly do you want? Tang Long asked directly. We are all adults here. Let us sit down and discuss this without hostility. Jiang Yuan smirked inwardly. Tang Long's words sounded noble, akin to a heroic figure. Little did he know that just moments ago, this man had been a rogue intent on forcibly marrying a young girl. Truly shameless. However, Jiang Yuan had no intention of prolonging the torment. His purpose for visiting was to seek collaboration. And after all, Tang Long was the father of Tang Chengxin. A slight admonition would suffice. I have two conditions, Jiang Yuan declared, holding up two fingers. Tang Long mirrored his gesture, indicating his readiness. Please, go ahead. Jiang Yuan continued. First, these heart disease medications can be produced by you, but we must split the profits 80-20. Tang Long exclaimed in astonishment. You haven't done anything, yet you demand 20%? Jiang Yuan shook his head and replied, You are mistaken. 2/10 belong to you, while I shall take 8/10. Tang Long's countenance darkened as he exclaimed, You expect us to handle everything, and yet you demand 8/10 outright. Jiang Yuan retorted, Just state plainly whether you wish to proceed or not. Chapter 282. No eternal enemies. Tang Long's expression fluctuated between dark and bright, yet his mind was as clear as day. Although Jiang Yuan's proposal was exceedingly unreasonable and even exuded a rather arrogant demeanor, a 20% profit was still a considerable sum if he chose to cooperate. Conversely, if he opted not to collaborate, he would gain nothing at all. Furthermore, it was rumored that Jiang Yuan was quite close to Sun Yungu of the Sun family, and if this business were entrusted to them, it could pose an even greater threat to his standing. Weighing these factors, Tang Long replied, Very well, we shall proceed as you suggest for the time being. What is the second condition? Jiang Yuan stated, Yang Yin Fei is from my hometown. Since she does not wish to marry you, it would be wise of you to let her go. Tang Long's complexion shifted from pale to flushed. The young woman, named Yang, was indeed to his liking, and she was merely the daughter of a bankrupt family. He had originally set his sights on her. However, he was also acutely aware that to him, she was merely a plaything, one he would discard once he grew tired of her. In comparison to the business at hand, the weight of this matter was abundantly clear. Tang Long responded gravely, Fine, I can agree to that. Yang Yin Fei trembled, disbelief etched on her face. Had she truly been saved so effortlessly, so simply? Merely a word from Jiang Yuan was sufficient to persuade Tang Long to spare her. Jiang Yuan continued, Well then, I can propose a third request. Tang Long was taken aback. Did you not just say there were only two conditions? Jiang Yuan smiled. I have decided to add one more on a whim. Is that not permissible? Tang Long lowered his gaze slightly, remarking, Those of high status often forget, so it is indeed permissible. Upon uttering this, he could not help but turn his head away. Tang Long's eyes nearly blazed with fury. Any ordinary person would surely feel a chill upon encountering such a furious glare. Despite his overwhelming anger, he forced himself to contain it. Jiang Yuan declared, I share a deep connection with Miss Tang. Should you impose any further interference, I shall not hold back. With that, he boldly wrapped his arm around the blushing Tang Chun Xian's slender waist. Tang Long's expression became wooden. He had long since realized that his daughter had taken a liking to Jiang Yuan, and he was well aware of their affair. Oh, there's one more thing I almost forgot to mention. I need to expedite the listing of a company. I understand you are well-connected and can assist me, correct? Certainly, Jiang Yuan replied. Faced with Jiang Yuan's successive demands, Tang Long felt a growing numbness as he acquiesced. While he possessed a sense of dignity, the current circumstances were particularly exceptional. Whispers had already circulated regarding the Zhang family's impending significant movements. Although Tang Long's heart brimmed with indignation, he dared not voice it. The interests of his family took precedence. It had been imparted to him decades ago by his father that an individual might endure humiliation and scorn. But should such a predicament endanger the entire family, one would become a perpetrator of eternal disgrace. Tang Long was acutely aware of this truth. He understood that in this world, there are neither eternal enemies nor everlasting friends, since Jiang Yuan could offer him such substantial benefits, even significantly amplifying his influence among the four prominent families. What was the significance of a single face, a mere woman? Having come to this realization, Tang Long managed a reluctant smile. As we are now partners in this endeavor, what are the specifics? Jiang Yuan smiled lightly. Let us discuss the particulars later. The hour is late, and I am somewhat fatigued. Please arrange a room for me. Of course, I shall prepare the finest accommodation for you, Tang Long replied. Jiang Yuan gracefully made his way to his designated room. Tang Qinshin and Yang Yinfei stood before him, their expressions somewhat complex. Tang Qinshin was predominantly filled with admiration and reverence. Jiang Yuan had effortlessly resolved the day's affairs, which far exceeded her expectations. She had little understanding of business matters. It was astonishing that someone like Jiang Yuan could so casually compel her usually formidable father to relent. Thud! Yang Yinfei abruptly knelt on the ground. Jiang Yuan frowned slightly. Rise, do not kneel. Tears glistened in Yang Yinfei's beautiful eyes as she said, Thank you. Although we are both from the same hometown, having once shared the waters of a river together, your willingness to assist me leaves me at a loss for words to express my gratitude. I have told you to rise. Do not kneel, Jiang Yuan insisted. Wiping her tears, Yang Yinfei steadied herself against the wall and stood. Mr. Jiang, your kindness will not go unrewarded in my lifetime. Jiang Yuan glanced at her, taking a moment to truly observe her for the first time. Yang Yinfei was indeed quite lovely, with her autumn-like eyes, a sweetly rounded face, and a curvaceous figure complemented by long legs. It was no surprise that someone like Tang Long would take notice of such a girl. She surely belonged to the top one of her peers. If Jiang Yuan were to assign a score, it would likely be around 9.8, rivaling that of Miss Tang. How do you intend to repay his kindness? Jiang Yuan chuckled and replied, What kindness? We are merely fellow townsfolk. As the saying goes, one feels like a stranger in a foreign land. It is only when away from home that we realize the importance of helping one another. With that, Jiang Yuan transferred a sum of money to Yang Yinfei, instructing her to care for her family. Upon witnessing such generosity, Yang Yinfei's eyes welled with tears once again, nearly spilling over. Mr. Jiang, I will surely repay your kindness in the future. Jiang Yuan smiled and said, I have already stated that it is unnecessary. I still need to discuss some matters with Miss Tang. You may leave now. Upon hearing this, Yang Yinfei bowed deeply and swiftly exited, eager not to disrupt Jiang Yuan. After her departure, Jiang Yuan naturally wrapped his arm around Tang Qinshin's slender waist and whispered in her ear, It has been a while. Have you missed me? Tang Qinshin cast a sidelong glance at him and remarked, Perhaps you should let your Miss Yang think of you. From the look she had just now, I dare say she would readily agree to marry you at your slightest command. Jiang Yuan, both amused and exasperated, replied, What nonsense. Our first meeting was merely due to my assistance. She was only slightly warmer towards me as a result. Tang Qinshin scoffed, clearly unconvinced by his explanation. As a woman, I understand my kind best, and I perceive that Miss Yang harbors quite a fondness for you. Upon hearing her words, Jiang Yuan instinctively pulled her into an embrace. Are you jealous? Not at all. Really? Absolutely. Jiang Yuan chuckled, fully aware of how to navigate such a scenario. Chapter 283. Seeing through the schemes, Jiang Yuan gently embraced Tang Qinshin's slender waist with his left hand, while his right hand's fingertips lightly brushed through her hair. Tang Qinshin leaned closer, whispering in his ear, Are you going to leave as soon as you finish your business this time? When will we meet again? Jiang Yuan smiled and replied, This time is rather special. I require your father's personal assistance with some important matters. I will probably stay with you for about 2 days. Upon hearing this, Tang Qinshin's eyes immediately brightened, and her face gradually radiated joy. Really? She exclaimed. Of course. I am quite sincere, and I shall be by your side for these 2 days, Jiang Yuan assured her. Tang Qinshin shyly retorted. Who said I wanted you to accompany me? I never insisted you stay. Jiang Yuan chuckled. Naturally, as a guest, I wish for the company of my host. Would you be willing? Tang Qinshin smiled playfully. That will depend on your performance. If I catch you exchanging glances with that girl, surnamed Yang. Humph. Hearing this, Jiang Yuan couldn't help but chuckle inwardly. This woman is truly peculiar. Just moments ago, she fiercely defended against her father for Miss Yang. Yet now, she seemed to regard her as a rival, meticulously vigilant. Tang Qinshin, discerning his amusement, promptly added, if she hadn't reminded me of my mother, I would have offered her any assistance. As if recalling something, she continued, that girl surnamed Yang is not so simple. You need to keep your distance from her. Understood? Jiang Yuan responded with a smile. For these 2 days, I shall only be with you and will have no dealings with her. Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's promise, Tang Qinshin finally smiled in satisfaction. She gently closed her eyes, chuckling softly. Seizing the moment to deepen the atmosphere, Jiang Yuan lowered his head and kissed her. However, Tang Qinshin suddenly opened her eyes, curiosity and admiration lighting her expression as she asked, How did you manage to make my father yield today? I have never seen him compromise so easily. Jiang Yuan chuckled. The mountains have their own clever strategies. Before I arrived, I gathered some information about your father. To put it nicely, it was catering to his preferences. To put it bluntly, it was striking at his vital point. With adequate preparation, one naturally achieves twice the result with half the effort. Tang Qinshin expressed concern, but you must be cautious. He appears amiable, but is quite petty behind the scenes. You have embarrassed him multiple times, and he is not one to easily concede. If he discovers your weaknesses, it could be detrimental to you. Jiang Yuan laughed heartily. That sounds immensely entertaining. I have always had a penchant for people who are proud at heart, yet compelled to compromise outwardly. There's a saying. Isn't there? What the mouth despises, the body still adheres to. Tang Qinshin scoffed. What nonsense. I'm warning you to be careful. He might very well create difficulties for you. Jiang Yuan smiled. Let him try. I refuse to believe he can. Before he could finish his sentence, a knock on the door interrupted him, followed by the voice of a servant relaying a message. Miss, the master has sent me to convey a message. Of late, the matriarch has been unwell and requires your company tonight. Tang Qinshin zbonde, understood. She glanced at Jiang Yuan and chuckled softly. Isn't this just poetic justice? My grandmother is in excellent health. He merely wishes to divert me this evening. Jiang Yuan furrowed his brows and asked, What am I to do? Tang Qinshin, blushing, replied, You can sleep with a pillow in your arms. With that, she fled from Jiang Yuan's room. Her eyes crescent-shaped with mirth as she turned back to him and playfully covered her mouth with a smile. Jiang Yuan pondered for a moment, his frown gradually easing. You may have your clever schemes, but I possess my own means. Is this merely an attempt to vex me? Jiang? Shall I simply acquiesce? Resolutely, he decided to stride out of his room to pay a visit to Matriarch Tang. A few days prior, he had bestowed several precious gifts upon her during her centennial celebration, which would surely earn him some favor. After the visit, it would not be untoward for him to discreetly take her granddaughter's hand and depart. After mulling over his plan, he prepared to stealthily exit and execute his scheme. He was curious to see how Tang Long would react. However, just as he reached the doorway, a fragrant breeze wafted in. It was Yang Yanfei, who had left only moments ago, now returning. A peculiar sensation stirred within Jiang Yuan. She had chosen this moment to return after Tang Qinshin had been sent away. Was this merely a coincidence, or had she been waiting outside all along, only daring to approach once Tang Qinshin had departed? What could she possibly wish to discuss with him? With a fleeting smile, he greeted her, What brings you here? Yang Yanfei lowered her gaze, revealing a somewhat beguiling smile. Today I owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude, and naturally, I must repay it. However, it is rather inconvenient with Miss Tang present. Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow. Sensing that without Tang Qinshin, Yang Yanfei seemed liberated. Her speech became bolder, and she had changed into a new green spaghetti strap dress that accentuated her nearly flawless figure. Her complexion glowed, cheeks flushed as if imbued with a slight intoxication, captivating him. With a smirk, he inquired, How do you intend to repay me? Yang Yanfei shyly replied, Whatever you desire, I am more than willing. With that, she slowly settled beside Jiang Yuan, closing her eyes in anticipation of his next move, resembling a delicately crafted marionette. Utterly motionless, yet, after a long wait, instead of receiving his touch, she was met with a cold, Piercing question. How many benefits did Tang Long promise you for this visit? Yang Yanfei trembled slightly, suddenly opening her eyes, quickly shaking her head and saying, no, that's not true. Jiang Yuan chuckled softly. First, she had someone send Miss Tang away, then she brought you here. If my intellect were a tad less sharp, allowing you to act recklessly, by the time everything was set in stone, she would naturally arrange for Miss Tang to learn of tonight's events, thereby creating a rift between us. This is merely a simplistic ruse. Do you really think I am unable to see through it? With just a few words, he effortlessly unveiled the scheme of the night. Yang Yanfei was taken aback, exclaiming, how could you possibly know all of this? Chapter 284. Cousin Tang, Xiaoyi Jiang Yuan gently caressed her smooth little face and remarked with a smile. As long as one is willing to engage their mind and is not blinded by trivial desires, they can naturally conceive of ideas. Yang Yanfei remained silent for a long while before finally speaking. You are quite clever, certainly more astute than most men I have encountered. This seemingly simple strategy, though basic, proves effective time and again. Jiang Yuan playfully pinched her jade-like face and replied, I fear it is merely your overwhelming charm, as the saying goes. Even heroes find it difficult to resist the allure of beauty. Few men can withstand your enchantment. Yang Yanfei sighed, then why is it that you alone can resist? Jiang Yuan straightened his posture and declared loudly, that is simply because I am no ordinary hero. I am a hero among heroes. If I cannot see through such trivial tricks, I might as well smash my head against a tofu block. His words, delivered with a light-hearted air, carried a hint of jest, yet at that moment, Miss Yang found it hard to smile. With a forced smile, Yang Yanfei remarked, do you think I am shameless? You saved me during the day, and yet here I am, scheming against you at night. Jiang Yuan nodded and replied, not entirely, but I can somewhat understand your mindset. Yang Yanfei inquired, oh? Jiang Yuan continued, what does it matter if one repays kindness with malice? Once someone holds leverage or a weakness over another, they will naturally be subservient. Yang Yanfei laughed. Do you believe I'm being coerced? Jiang Yuan was taken aback, asking, is it not so? Yang Yanfei shook her head. Of course not. Jiang Yuan pressed, then why? A peculiar expression gradually emerged on Yang Yanfei's face as she gazed at Jiang Yuan with a mix of astonishment and trepidation. I harbor hatred and jealousy. That woman named Tang possesses everything by birthright, wealth, status, and even men like you. Jiang Yuan remained silent, and after a moment, he smiled and said, I have matters to attend to, please feel free. With that, he departed from the room. Yang Yanfei watched Jiang Yuan's retreating figure with a complex expression before suddenly covering her face and bursting into tears. Upon exiting his small room, Jiang Yuan found himself somewhat lost. The Tang family's residential area was designed with intricate elegance, yet for a first-time visitor, it could be quite disorienting. Fortunately, he encountered a young girl along the way, whose appearance bore a striking resemblance to Tang Chenxin, albeit younger and more innocent. His heart lightened at the sight, and he prepared to engage her in conversation to seek her guidance. However, to his surprise, before he could speak, the girl's eyes brightened. Looking at him with delight, she exclaimed, Jiang Yuan? You are Jiang Yuan. What brings you here? Jiang Yuan was taken aback and asked, you know me? The youthful girl tugged at his sleeve and smiled, of course I do. You've been a tremendous help to me. And after the commotion you caused during your last visit, who in the Tang family doesn't know your name? Her words left Jiang Yuan utterly perplexed. Help? When have I ever assisted you? The young girl, with her youthful innocence, quickly replied, my name is Tang Xiaoyi. I am a cousin of Chen Xinxin. The name rang a bell for Jiang Yuan. He recalled that during a clandestine gathering, Tang Xinxin had mentioned having a cousin with a heart condition. At that moment, he had merely offered the contact of a cardiologist as a gesture of goodwill. It dawned on him that her notion of being helped was indeed this. Since she was Tang Xinxin's cousin and obviously held her in high regard, she likely did not align herself with Tang Long. With a face full of youthful enthusiasm, Tang Xiaoyi tugged at Jiang Yuan's sleeve, her eyes shining with admiration. Brother Jiang Yuan, what brings you to our home? Jiang Yuan smiled gently and replied, I heard that the old matriarch has not been well lately, so I came to pay a visit. Upon hearing this, Tang Xiaoyi's eyes clouded with confusion. Is that true? The matriarch's health is really not good? But I was under the impression that she had been quite well. Jiang Yuan sighed. In truth, they have kept this from you, fearing that the news of her illness might overwhelm you due to your own fragile state. I regret having spoken of it. Tang Xiaoyi trembled slightly, her voice quivering as she responded, no, it can't be. She has always been so kind to me. She can't be in any trouble, can she? Jiang Yuan, with utmost seriousness, said, indeed, Therefore, you must take me to see her at once. I may have a way to help her. But our family has a rule against allowing outsiders to meet the matriarch. Jiang Yuan feigned an injured expression. Outsider? I share a close bond with your cousin. On her birthday, I even presented her with 3 valuable gifts and facilitated her treatment. What have I done to warrant such disrespect? Being labeled an outsider. Being quite young, Tang Xiaoi became flustered at his words and quickly stammered. I didn't mean it that way. I meant, Jiang Yuan interjected. Then what did you mean? Tang Xiaoi stuttered. What I mean is, I am willing to take you there. This young girl was rather naive and easily swayed, with just a few words. Jiang Yuan had convinced her. He pondered whether she might fall prey to someone with ill intentions in the future. Upon learning of the matriarch's health issues, Tang Xiaoi was consumed with urgency. She obediently led the way, while Jiang Yuan, hands clasped behind his head, followed contentedly. However, the path ahead twisted and turned, reminiscent of a labyrinth. It seemed designed as a safeguard against thieves. Any ordinary intruder would undoubtedly become lost here. Jiang Yuan felt fortunate, realizing that without a guide, he might wander for a day and a night without finding them. Had it not been for the serendipitous encounter with this innocent young maiden, I would likely have become lost within this labyrinthine abode. It is hardly the fault of Jiang Yuan. Who could have anticipated that the Tang family's residence would be designed in such an enigmatic manner, resembling a shadowy maze? Before long, Jiang Yuan arrived at a particularly exquisite dwelling, suggesting that its owner held considerable standing. This must be the place. Jiang Yuan smiled, knowing that he had indeed arrived at his destination. Chapter 285. The affectionate matriarch Tang Xiaoi lifted her head and said, Brother Jiang Yuan, just ahead is the matriarch's room. After speaking, she hurriedly knocked on the door. After a moment, the door opened from within, revealing the somewhat puzzled face of Tang Qianxin. Xiaoi, what brings you here? Tang Xiaoi spoke urgently. Sister, is the matriarch unwell? Are you all afraid of my health issues, and that's why you're hiding it from me? Her lips quivered, and her voice nearly broke into tears. Tang Qianxin was bewildered, her mind filled with questions. The notion of the matriarch being ill was merely a fabrication by Tang Long to create difficulties for Jiang Yuan, preventing him from taking advantage of his daughter. However, how did the innocent Xiaoi come to hear of this, and why did she seem so convinced? After a moment's thought, Miss Tang understood the situation. She glanced around and indeed spotted Jiang Yuan not far off, smiling and waving at her. With a wry smile, she reassured, Xiaoi, the matriarch will be fine very soon. So do not worry. At that moment, Jiang Yuan also approached at the right time, confidently patting his chest and declaring, Indeed, as long as I am here, the matriarch will undoubtedly be well. Hearing their steadfast assurances, Tang Xiaoi felt her anxieties ease slightly. Tang Qianxin shot a sidelong glance at Jiang Yuan and whispered in his ear, You're even deceiving a child with a look of innocence. Jiang Yuan replied, Xiaoi is no longer a child. It's unjust to label me as such. Tang Qianxin retorted, Due to her health, she has been bedridden for a long time and has had little contact with others. Don't be fooled by her age. Her mental state is akin to that of a child. Jiang Yuan chuckled, taking Tang Qianxin's hand. This is merely a benevolent fib, with good intentions behind it. Seeing the mischievous yet teasing glint in his eyes, Tang Qianxin could not help but blush. It was late at night, and Jiang Yuan had deliberately left his room, deceiving his cousin Tang Xiaoi into guiding him to where the matriarch resided, clearly with ulterior motives. It was evident he wished to engage in mischief. The intentions of Sima Zhao are known to all. Bah, I do not believe you. Your intentions are far from pure. Jiang Yuan replied, Oh? In what way am I being wicked? Tang Qianxin shot him a glare and said, Xiaoi is still here. Do not speak carelessly. Jiang Yuan laughed. We are speaking so softly. She cannot hear us. Tang Qianxin countered. Do you wish to continue speaking in whispers? Jiang Yuan replied, Naturally not. The two exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them, and they shared a knowing smile. Tang Qianxin called out loudly, Xiaoi, it's getting late. Do not disturb the matriarch's rest. You should return to your room. Unexpectedly, although Tang Xiaoi possessed the innocence of youth, she displayed profound concern for the venerable matriarch. Shaking her head repeatedly, she earnestly declared, I must see the matriarch with my own eyes to ascertain her health. Otherwise, I shall remain restless. Upon hearing her words, Jiang Yuan felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. The matriarch's alleged illness was merely a fabrication of his own making, and should she enter and discover her in good health, it would prove difficult to explain. Just as Jiang Yuan was about to devise a suitable response, the matriarch's voice, frail and intermittent, drifted from within the room. Xiaoyi, return to rest. I have important matters to discuss with them. Upon hearing this, Tang Xiaoyi's eyes glistened with unshed tears. The weariness in the matriarch's voice revealed a clear struggle with illness, causing Tang Xiaoyi's heart to ache. Yet, with the matriarch's words, she knew she must suppress her desire to visit her. Bowing her head, she replied, "Very well, I shall take my leave. Matriarch, please take care of yourself." With that, she departed the scene. Jiang Yuan and Tang Qinshin exchanged incredulous glances. Hand in hand, they entered the room, where they found an elderly lady with silver hair leisurely preparing a pot of tea. Jiang Yuan politely greeted her. "It is a pleasure to meet you, matriarch. Thank you for your timely intervention earlier." The matriarch chuckled, her gaze warm and tender as she looked upon the young couple, feeling a surge of joy in her heart. Standing together, Jiang Yuan and Miss Tang resembled a pair of youthful lovers, remarkably well-suited. The matriarch remarked with a smile, "You young ones are full of clever ideas. You make me wish to partake in your schemes." Her cooperation in Jiang Yuan's ruse had indeed taken him by surprise. She then continued, "Qinshin, I have some private matters to discuss with Jiang Yuan. Would you kindly step outside?" Tang Qinshin, puzzled, cast several inquisitive glances at Jiang Yuan, unable to fathom why the matriarch desired a private conversation with him, excluding her from hearing. Jiang Yuan softly urged, "Wait for me just outside. I'll be out shortly." Qinshin acquiesced with a nod and stepped out. Once she had exited, the matriarch dismissed her own close attendants, leaving only Jiang Yuan and herself in the room. "Please, take a seat," the matriarch said, a smile gracing her lips. "This tea is specially prepared for you." She gestured toward a steaming cup, the delicate fragrance of the tea enveloping the air. Jiang Yuan lifted the cup, admiring the deep crimson hue, which exuded an air of exquisite elegance. "Is this Da Hong Bao, and of a high grade?" he inquired with surprise. The matriarch smiled knowingly. "Indeed, it is of the highest quality." As Jiang Yuan sipped the tea, he discovered it to be remarkably distinct from any Da Hong Pao he had previously tasted. This tea is exceedingly rare, with an annual yield that is pitifully low. The top-tier variety is as elusive as a phoenix feather. It is certainly not something that can be acquired with mere wealth. Only ancient tea merchants and certain illustrious families have secured special agreements to obtain it. Although Jiang Yuan had previously tasted some Da Hong Pao, the disparity between different grades of this tea can, at times, be greater than that between a human and a dog. At this moment, the cup of tea in his hand is likely worth a fortune, akin to a priceless antique. Jiang Yuan is acutely aware that such tea is typically reserved for the most distinguished guests, only brought forth to honor those of exceptional status. Chapter 286. The matriarch's advised the matriarch, observing his spirited demeanor as he drank, could not help but smile faintly. The wrinkles on her face danced with the warmth of her smile, and in that moment, Jiang Yuan felt as though he were basking in the glow of a gentle sunset. "Jiang Yuan, what impression do you have of our Tang family?" she inquired. After a moment's contemplation, Jiang Yuan replied, "It is quite favorable. I have a good impression of many individuals here." With a half-smile, the matriarch responded, "I am aware of your favorable sentiments toward many, particularly your fondness for Chun Xian. You have come tonight specifically to whisk her away from my side, have you not?" Jiang Yuan's heart jolted at her perceptive remark, as she had astutely uncovered his innermost thoughts. However, he was not one to be easily flustered. He retorted with a grin, "Matriarch, your wisdom is unparalleled. I am in awe of you." The matriarch chuckled affectionately and poured herself a cup of tea. "Do not let my age deceive you. I was once young myself, and understand the thoughts that linger in the hearts of youth. Do not underestimate me as just an old woman to be easily misled." Jiang Yuan laughed lightly. "Indeed, matriarch, your clarity of mind reveals everything. Nothing escapes your keen perception." She regarded him fondly, appreciating his youthful spirit. Not only was he handsome, but his intelligence and sense of responsibility were equally commendable. If only the descendants of the Tang family could embody Jiang Yuan's qualities, her heart would be at ease. Even after her departure from this world, she could find solace in knowing that a worthy successor was among them. Alas, the lineage of the Tang family seemed to diminish with each generation, plagued by ineptitude and frivolity. She raised her teacup to her lips, closing her eyes momentarily as she savored a sip. After a prolonged silence, she sighed gently. "Jiang Yuan, I do not oppose your relationship with Chun Xian. Ultimately, everyone ages, and the tides of time must push the waves of the past. Each generation requires exceptional individuals to succeed the previous one. Much like blood must circulate through the organs to create new vitality and maintain health. Jiang Yuan sensed a deeper meaning behind her words, though she remained enigmatic. He chose to remain silent, patiently awaiting what wisdom she wished to impart. With an introspective gaze, the matriarch continued. Do you know why Tang Long has persistently made things difficult for you? Jiang Yuan replied. I have publicly contradicted him several times. And as the head of the Tang family, he must feel resentful and wishes to teach me a lesson. The matriarch shook her head. It is not so simple. His motives run far deeper than you perceive. There are matters I cannot disclose at this moment, but I can offer you a piece of sound advice. When you eventually uncover the entire truth, you will be profoundly grateful to me. Intrigued, Jiang Yuan asked, "Oh, what advice do you have, matriarch? I'm all ears." As he spoke, he felt his mouth dry again. The exquisite taste of the top-grade De Hongpo lingered, and he absent-mindedly poured himself another cup of tea, savoring the soothing sensation as it flowed down his throat. Unexpectedly, the matriarch suddenly uttered a shocking suggestion. My advice is for you to amicably part ways with Chen Xian and instead marry Tang Xiaoyi. Jiang Yuan, who had been casually sipping his tea, was so taken aback by this earth-shattering statement that he sprayed the tea all over the table, coughing vigorously while clutching his chest. Astonished, Jiang Yuan exclaimed, "Cough, cough, cough. Grandmother, you must be jesting. Such a joke is hardly amusing. How old is Xiaoyi? Are you truly considering arranging a marriage for her? And for us?" The matriarch smiled gently. Xiaoyi's slow physical development is solely due to her illness. In reality, she has recently reached adulthood. Her mental state may resemble that of a child, but you need not worry about her age. Jiang Yuan shook his head firmly. Even so, that is out of the question. Firstly, if I were to abandon Chen Xian without cause, what sort of person would that make me? Secondly, Xiaoyi may not even agree to this arrangement. Thirdly, we share no emotional connection. How can we recklessly enter into a relationship or even an engagement? The matriarch chuckled lightly. These are not insurmountable issues. First, what is the significance of young people parting ways amicably? Surely, their mindset cannot be more conservative than ours. Secondly, ever since my last birthday celebration, Xiaoyi has spoken highly of you, praising your deeds to anyone she encounters. I can sense her genuine affection for you. At this point, the matriarch cast a meaningful glance at Jiang Yuan and added, Otherwise, do you really think she would so easily be deceived into guiding you? Do you believe she is simply a naive child? Thirdly, emotions can indeed be nurtured. Spending time together will naturally foster feelings. How can you know that affection will not develop if you do not even attempt to connect with her? Jiang Yuan replied, Bejididet, Xiaoyi is indeed a fine girl, but I fear I am unworthy of such fortune. The matriarch, with an enigmatic smile, inquired in all honesty, How do you perceive Xiaoyi's appearance and figure? Jiang Yuan responded, Well, she is quite lovely, bearing a resemblance to Chen Xian, but appearing younger and possessing more potential in her physique. However, my interactions with her have been limited, and thus I cannot accept your suggestion. The matriarch chuckled. Very well, since you are unwilling to accept my proposal, I shall not press you. However, Jiang Yuan felt a chill run down his spine, sensing a hint of mischief in her tone, as if she were teasing or playing a prank. The matriarch continued, however, Chen Xian must accompany me tonight. My health has been deteriorating lately. Cough, cough, cough. She mimicked Jiang Yuan's earlier coughing fit. Yet, Jiang Yuan quickly discerned that the matriarch was clearly setting a barrier for him, unwilling to let him take Tang Chen Xian away that evening. Jiang Yuan, with a frown, mused to himself, The Tang family is indeed quite amusing. That old fellow, Tang Long, is perpetually scheming to thwart me, unwilling to let me take advantage of his precious daughter. At the very least, he arranged for Yang Yanfei to serve as bait. The matriarch is even more peculiar, audaciously attempting to force an engagement between me and Tang Xiaoyi, while fervently advising me to part ways with Miss Tang. After I declined her suggestion, she shamelessly pretended to be ill, preventing Miss Tang from leaving my side. Chapter 287. The matriarch's request upon encountering Jiang Yuan, who appeared visibly troubled. The matriarch chuckled lightly and inquired, Jiang Yuan, it seems you are quite eager to take Chen Xian away, are you not? Jiang Yuan candidly acknowledged, Indeed, I am very much inclined to do so. The matriarch pressed further, Just how much do you desire this? After a moment of contemplation, Jiang Yuan responded, With every passing moment, my desire intensifies, more than the previous instant, yet less than the next. The matriarch laughed, You are rather romantic. It seems you have charmed quite a few young ladies. Jiang Yuan humbly replied, You flatter me. She continued, In truth, if you would agree to fulfill one simple request of mine, it may very well enable you to take her with you. A flicker of suspicion crossed Jiang Yuan's mind as he queried, "What is this request?" The matriarch explained, "It is quite straightforward. Tang Long has arranged a social gathering for Xiao Yi tomorrow. I am concerned that her youthful mind may make her susceptible to deception, and thus I would like you to accompany her." Jiang Yuan was momentarily taken aback and remarked, "Is it really that simple?" "Yes, it is indeed that simple," she confirmed. The notion of attending a social gathering together. Jiang Yuan pondered briefly, discerning that the matter was not as uncomplicated as it seemed. The matriarch was clearly hinting that Xiao Yi should not be allowed to forge a connection with anyone else through this gathering. It was evident that Tang Long harbored intentions of marrying Xiao Yi off, but the matriarch's stance was evidently contrary. She did not wish for Xiao Yi to marry outside the family. Yet, she was reluctant to confront Tang Long directly about her disapproval, thus requiring Jiang Yuan's assistance in achieving her aims. It appeared that even within the inner circle of the Tang family, opinions were not unified. After a moment's reflection, Jiang Yuan acquiesced. "Very well, I shall see to it." His reasoning was simple. He genuinely wished to take away Tang Xian, and additionally, he harbored a profound disdain for Tang Long, whatever decision Tang Long favored. Jiang Yuan would instinctively oppose. As the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Since Tang Long desired to see Xiao Yi wed, Jiang Yuan would resolutely ensure she did not marry. Moreover, the fact that the matriarch stood on his side added an intriguing twist to the affair. Although Jiang Yuan was unaware of the intricacies surrounding this situation, he was eager to seize the opportunity to counter Tang Long's intentions, especially when there were advantages to be gained. The matriarch, witnessing Jiang Yuan's agreement, displayed a knowing smile. "Jiang Yuan, regarding my suggestions for tonight, I encourage you to ponder them further. Of course, I shall not impose or compel you. However, I believe Xiao Yi is far more suited to you than Chen Xian. Take the time to reflect on this." After absorbing her subtly laden remarks, Jiang Yuan nodded in acknowledgement and prepared to take his leave. "I apologize for intruding this evening. If there are no further matters, I shall take my leave." The matriarch smiled kindly. "I understand you are busy with Chen Xian, so do take your leave." As Jiang Yuan turned to exit, he left the matriarch alone in her solitary chamber, her eyes gently narrowing. The lights dimmed at some point, enveloping the surroundings in a profound silence. After a prolonged silence, the old matriarch let out a gentle sigh, her demeanor exuding a profound sense of solitude in the depths of the night. Following his farewell to the matriarch, Jiang Yuan swiftly sought out Tang Qianxin, who awaited him at the door. With a playful grin, he stealthily wrapped his arms around her slender waist from behind. "Have you been waiting long?" he inquired, caught off guard by his sudden embrace. Miss Tang's cheeks flushed crimson as she retorted, "How improper. I've waited for you so long. A brief moment is nothing." Jiang Yuan whispered in her ear, "Then let us rest quickly, for the night is deep." Understanding his insinuation, Tang Qianxin's face grew even more flushed. However, her curiosity prompted her to ask, "What did you discuss with the matriarch during your long absence?" Upon hearing her question, Jiang Yuan's heart momentarily tightened. He could not divulge the truth. If Miss Tang were to learn that the matriarch did not approve of their union and instead favored his cousin, Tang Xiaoyi, it could lead to unforeseen complications. With a mischievous smile, Jiang Yuan replied, "The matriarch wished us a lifetime of happiness and early children, and even expressed her hopes for our swift marriage." "How dare you? The matriarch would never say such things to you. You're simply being ridiculous." Dan Jianxin et Golim. Her face flushed as she playfully pinched the soft flesh at his waist. Yet, despite knowing he jested, a glimmer of joy graced her features. Jiang Yuan gently embraced her waist, strolling together under the moonlit sky toward the room designated for rest. Inwardly, he contemplated what excuse he could concoct to accompany Tang Xiaoyi to the social gathering the following day, having already acquiesced to the matriarch's request. He was also determined to oppose Tang Long's intentions, as the latter sought to hastily marry off Tang Xiaoyi, while Jiang Yuan was intent on thwarting such plans. To his surprise, before he could voice his thoughts, it was Tang Qianxin who spoke first. With a hint of hesitation, she said, "Jiang Yuan, I had a conversation with the matriarch before you arrived. I've already promised to accompany Xiaoyi to a social gathering tomorrow." Seemingly anxious about Jiang Yuan's potential misinterpretation, she quickly added, "Please don't misunderstand. I'm not attending for myself. It's merely the matriarch's request for me to accompany Xiaoyi." Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan secretly rejoiced, recognizing it as the perfect opportunity to leverage the situation. Adopting a serious expression, he feigned jealousy, stating, "That is absolutely unacceptable. At a social gathering, What if someone takes a liking to you? Tang Qinxin nervously shook her head, insisting, I will reject them all. Jiang Yuan firmly declared, no, I cannot agree. Tang Qinxin hesitated, but I've already promised the matriarch. Jiang Yuan interjected, only if I accompany both of you. Tang Qinxin pondered for a moment and said, that could work, but remember to keep a low profile. This is for Xiaoyi's lifelong happiness. Do not overshadow her. Jiang Yuan nodded in agreement, of course. I understand the importance of discretion. He chuckled inwardly, having effortlessly concocted an excuse that would allow him to openly thwart Tang Long's plans the following day, thereby assisting Tang Xiaoyi in eliminating erroneous options. After a brief stroll, the two returned to the room they had occupied earlier. At this juncture, Yang Yinfei had already departed, leaving the room deserted. Jiang Yuan and Miss Tang entered the space and commenced their rest. This night felt particularly protracted. Chapter 288. The social gathering the following day. Jiang Yuan rose a bit later than usual. A glance at his phone revealed the time to be 9 o'clock in the morning. He stretched his somewhat bloated body and mused, alas, joyful moments are always fleeting. An entire night has slipped away so swiftly. Beside him, Tang Qinxin lay sleeping like a little pig, her eyes squinted shut, occasionally letting a trickle of drool escape the corner of her mouth. This serene and warm scene made Jiang Yuan wish time could linger in this moment. However, with pressing matters at hand, he gently shook her awake. Remembering that he would be assisting his cousin in attending a social gathering today, Miss Tang suppressed her fatigue and morning grumpiness, initiating her morning routine. After half an hour, Jiang Yuan, Tang Qinxin, and Tang Xiaoyi boarded a private car en route to the event. Tang Xiaoyi had made a special effort to dress up for the occasion, donning a delicate pink suspender dress that showcased her fair and smooth shoulders. Her beauty was undeniable, sharing a resemblance with Tang Qinxin, and her youthful exuberance added a vibrant charm. Even Jiang Yuan was momentarily taken aback by her enchanting appearance in the petite dress, almost succumbing to the temptation of heeding the elder's suggestion. In contrast, Tang Qinxin opted for a more understated blue dress, purposefully toning down her beauty to avoid overshadowing her cousin. Nevertheless, her inherent allure remained, a beauty that many girls could only aspire to. As Jiang Yuan sat between the two stunning ladies, the atmosphere within the car seemed to brighten, filling him with a sense of contentment as he reclined comfortably in his seat. The vehicle was a limited edition Porsche, boasting exceptionally comfortable seating. Yet Tang Xiaoyi appeared somewhat restless, fidgeting in her seat. Jiang Yuan smiled and inquired, Xiaoyi, today is meant to be a delightful day. Why are you so anxious? Tang Xiaoyi shook her head repeatedly, but found herself at a loss for words. Tang Qinxin chimed in. She has rarely interacted with others due to her health issues since childhood, so it's only natural for her to feel nervous in such a crowded social setting. Tang Xiaoyi's eyes flickered, and after a brief moment of surprise, she smiled and admitted, cousin is right. That is precisely why I feel a bit on edge. Yet, Jiang Yuan's perceptive nature sensed that there was more beneath the surface. He scrutinized Tang Xiaoyi a little longer, recalling the elder's mention of the girl's fondness for him the night before. Could it be that? He chuckled inwardly, shaking his head slightly to dismiss the notion. To shift the conversation, he asked, so, who will be attending this gathering? Tang Xiaoyi hesitantly replied, it seems to be the children of renowned directors and artists. Tang Qinxin added, my father believes Xiaoyi's personality is better suited to mingle with these artistic second-generation individuals. Hence, he specifically arranged for some distinguished offspring of well-known artists to be present. She intentionally encouraged Tang Xiaoyi to attend the gathering, continuing, the children of directors and artists have generally inherited their parents' skills, not only in terms of status and fame, but also in their affluent family backgrounds and commendable personal images. Upon hearing her words, Jiang Yuan slightly furrowed his brow. His mission was to fulfill the old lady's commission, which required him to thwart Tang Xiaoyi's participation in this social event. However, Tang Qinxin's remarks were undeniably enticing. These young talents not only inherited their parents' artistic prowess, but were also financially secure and possessed charming appearances. Jiang Yuan felt that few young women could resist the allure of such exceptional men. He cast a fleeting glance at Tang Xiaoyi, contemplating how he could execute the old lady's wishes while simultaneously undermining Tang Long's plans. To his relief, Tang Xiaoyi exhibited little reaction to these comments, merely responding with casual affirmations. The journey was neither particularly short nor long. After approximately an hour, the vehicle came to a halt in front of a villa. Jiang Yuan alighted and surveyed the surroundings, discovering that a dozen luxury cars were already parked there. Clearly, these belonged to the other young elites attending the gathering. Bentleys, Porsches, Lamborghinis, Maseratis, Ferraris, Rolls-Royces. Jiang Yuan smiled faintly. It was evident that Tang Long had indeed invited individuals far beyond what he had merely described to Tang Xiaoyi as the offspring of artists. As soon as he stepped out of the car, Tang Qianxin urged, "Xiaoyi, hurry inside. If you delay, those quality men might be taken by someone else." She genuinely wished for her cousin to find a suitable partner, for she alone understood that due to her illness, Tang Xiaoyi had spent years in solitude within the confines of a hospital room. This profound sense of loneliness could perhaps be alleviated with the presence of a lifelong companion. Jiang Yuan, maintaining a composed demeanor, echoed, "Indeed, let us go inside." Yet, inwardly, he was devising a scheme to disperse those men from Tang Xiaoyi's vicinity. Jiang Yuan